Chapter 2034. Time passed bit by bit. After an unknown amount of time, Brother Longao didn't even need to ask to know that Butian had chosen to be his friend. He immediately rejoiced. Big Brother Boo, the two of them raised their cups at the same time and drank. After drinking for 2 hours, the two of them gradually stopped. With their cultivation bases, it was impossible for them to get drunk. Brother Long, where did you come from? Butian was still very curious about this question. His intuition told him that Longao definitely came from the tens of thousands of worlds controlled by the heaven-devouring empire. The chances of him coming from another empire were too low. After all, Longao had no reason to provoke the heaven-devouring empire. Butian carefully thought about the warning. If the cosmic sect hadn't provoked Longao wouldn't have been so bored as to provoke the cosmic sect. Butian smiled. Brother Boo, I came from this world. Have you heard of the Sky Marshal Plane? No. No? Longao thought about it and understood. If Butian had heard of the legends of the Sky Marshal continent, there was no way he wouldn't go there. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to say anything. Although the God Diviner and Butian were both universal world lords, Longao felt that the God Diviner's strength was too profound. Even Butian wouldn't be a match for him. If he went to the Sky Marshal continent and Butian died, wouldn't he blame himself for the rest of his life? Brother Boo, the Marshal Heaven continent I'm from has a powerful starry sky world master. In order to prevent my plane from being disturbed by the outside world, that starry sky world master used his power to seal it. After so many years, I'm the first person to come out of my plane. Even the current me is unable to find the coordinates of my plane. Butian jumped in fright when he heard Longao's words. Butian was very curious and said, the starry sky realm lord of your realm has a strange personality. No matter who it is, they all want to open their own realm. This way, the realm can continue to grow stronger. Sealing oneself is something that has never happened before. Not to mention Butian, even Longao couldn't understand the God Diviner's actions. Even if the Sky Marshal continent had a universal secret realm, with the God Diviner's strength, who would dare to act recklessly in the Sky Marshal continent? Furthermore, as long as by the God Diviner, no one would know about the universal secret realm. Helplessly shrugging his shoulders, Longao helplessly said, I also don't know what he is thinking. Brother Long, you have so many secrets by you. No. Resolutely and decisively, Longao said, the secrets on my body were all exchanged with my life and death. Big Brother Boo, I will tell you about this matter in the future, but now. He sighed deeply. Looking up at the sky, Butian worriedly said, Brother Long, you refined the third prince into a puppet. This matter cannot be concealed. I have already sent the puppet back to the Empire. If nothing unexpected happens, the Empire will soon make a move against you. You are alone. Why do you need to do this? Why? Did he want to offend the heaven-devouring Empire? Longao didn't care and said, the winner is king and the loser is a bandit. If I didn't kill the third prince, with the relationship between the third prince and Feng Xia, I don't need to guess that they wouldn't let me go. After so long, the Heaven and Earth sect and the third prince have been chasing after me. If I didn't do anything, the one dead would be me. This was the cruel reality. Longao was strong enough to kill the third prince and Heaven and Earth sect's master Feng Cheng. What if it was a normal cultivator? Being killed by Heaven and Earth sect and the third prince was like a drop of water in the ocean. It wouldn't cause any ripples. This was the reality. This was the law of survival in the vast universe. As the powerful ruler of the universe, how could Butian not understand this? In the vast universe, it was either you kill me or I kill you. There was no mercy. If you were merciful to your enemies, it was the same as being cruel to yourself. Because your enemies wouldn't be merciful to you. Thinking about this, Butian nodded. Based on my guess, if nothing goes wrong, the heaven-devouring empire won't send anyone over for the time being. I'll deal with you. During this period of time, Brother Long, you should destroy Heaven and Earth sect as soon as possible and escape. As long as you can leave the territory of the heaven-devouring empire, they won't be able to find you. The vast universe was boundless. The tens of thousands of worlds controlled by the heaven-devouring empire were just a drop in the ocean. The entire universe was simply too big. Longao knew what Butian meant. But could he leave? Wherever he went, if he fled as long as someone wanted to deal with him, when would it end? Big Brother Boo. As long as the heaven-devouring empire comes, no matter who it is, I won't let them leave alive. Although they hadn't known each other for a long time, Butian had a rough understanding of Longao's character. Longao was stubborn. Once he decided on something, it was almost impossible to change his mind. It was understandable. If it was someone else, they would have fled long ago when facing the Heaven and Earth sect and the heaven-devouring empire. However, Longao chose to stay and deal with the Heaven and Earth sect. In the end, he even caused a huge commotion in the Heaven and Earth sect. If Butian didn't see it with his own eyes, he wouldn't believe that a level 9 cultivator would do something like this. After thinking for a while, Butian said, "Although you killed the third prince, the heaven-devouring empire won't send a large force because of their reputation. If I can't deal with you in a few months, I believe that other universal realm lords will come. With me around, you can rest assured. I'm just afraid that some old freaks will come. If that happens, things will get troublesome." Even among the universal realm lords, there were differences in strength. As for Butian's level, Longao didn't know, but he didn't ask. "I'll deal with whatever comes my way. I'll kill whoever comes my way." Longao didn't want to continue to dwell on this issue. He was very clear about what he had done. Since he had chosen, he wouldn't regret it. Looking at the young man beside him, Butian's face was filled with admiration. He knew that the rise of every supreme expert was like this. Those who were afraid of everything wouldn't be able to reach the peak of the martial Tao. However, the path was filled with danger. Perhaps Longao would really be able to reach the peak of the martial Tao in the future. It was a height that Butian couldn't reach. Chapter 2035. After drinking for an entire day and night, Tian left. As for Longao, he was prepared to deal with Chinkuan's sect. According to Butian, he couldn't do anything to Chinkuan's sect. Otherwise, the heaven-devouring empire would definitely notice something amiss. Chinkuan's sect. The moment Butian returned, Hong Qi and Jiang Chong said excitedly, "Sir, you're finally back. What's wrong?" Butian could guess what the two of them wanted to say. Given their speed, the heaven-devouring empire should have received the third prince's corpse by now. Just as expected. "Sir, the empire has received the third prince's puppet. The entire empire is enraged, especially His Majesty. He has ordered you to bring Longao back to the empire no matter what." Corpse? No. He felt very helpless in his heart. This time, Longao had poked a hornet's nest. He didn't know why, but in recent years, Longao seemed to love this third prince very much. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't be standing here. The third prince's death was a huge humiliation to the empire. How could the heaven-devouring empire let this go so easily? Killing Longao. As for why they didn't want the corpse, Butian could guess the reason. Longao's speed is too fast. Even I can't catch up to him. Hurry up and find him. Remember, don't kill him. The empire wants him captured alive. It was difficult to kill him, let alone capture him alive. Old Black, Old White, Hong Qi, Jiang Chong, Old Ancestor Chinkuan, and Situ, he didn't dare to be careless. They knew how serious this matter was. If they couldn't capture Longao alive, they would all die if the heaven-devouring empire were to blame them. A world's surface wasn't big, but even so, there were at least tens of thousands of worlds. They couldn't search every single one of them. It would be like searching for a needle in a haystack. They didn't know if it was intentional. As the 6 of them left, Butian also went out to search for Longao. Only Fengxia was left in Chinkuan's sect. As for the Universal Region Emperors and Universal Region Emperors, they were all sent out by Butian. After everyone left, several hours later, Longao's figure had already appeared outside Universe Peak. In the end, you still came. Fengxia was a very smart person. Although she didn't have any concrete evidence, she was very clear that Butian and Longao were definitely not enemies. They were most likely friends. There was only one explanation for Butian's actions. and that was to let Longao deal with him. That was indeed the case. Fangxia really could not figure out why Butian would help Longao. Could the two of them be in cahoots? Fangxia, all of this was caused by you. Seeing that you're a woman, you should just kill yourself. Although Fangxia was the Starry Sky Domain Lord, Longao didn't take her seriously. Longao's cultivation had advanced smoothly from a Grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator to a Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. He was confident that it would be more than enough to kill a Starry Sky Region Lord. How could Fangxia not know about this? If it were an ordinary Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, she would not care about it at all. Only Longao. Only this perverted lunatic, a lunatic who couldn't be reasoned with common sense. Fangxia did not have the slightest confidence in fighting Longao, but did she care? Smiling, Fangxia spoke with an indifferent expression. Longao, do you think you can kill me? With Master here, not to mention you, even Butian might not be able to touch me. Let's give it a try. Fangxia, of course, knew why Longao had such confidence. When Butian attacked, Longao used the Starry Sky Spirit Artifact to release 7 powerful star boundary forces. There was no doubt that Longao's Starry Sky Spirit Artifact must have sealed the 7 Starry Sky Domain Lord's essence, spirits, and consciousnesses. 1 against 7, could he win? Fangxia did not have the slightest confidence. But at this moment, Fangxia's face suddenly changed and she spoke with a smile. Longao, since you're here today, don't leave. Huh. Fangxia's attitude suddenly took a 180-degree turn, as if she had turned into a completely different person, full of confidence. Was there something fishy about it? Longao could only think of one possibility. That was the powerful essence spirit remnant consciousness behind Fangxia. In the next second, Fangxia's aura suddenly changed, and a terrifying aura began to envelop Fangxia. In just a few seconds, Fangxia's aura disappeared. The essence spirit took over the body. Longao certainly knew what had happened. If nothing unexpected happened, the essence spirit remnant consciousness at this moment should have temporarily taken over Fangxia's body. This would be big trouble. Although the essence spirit remnant consciousnesses of the 7 seniors were in the 7 stars bead, they were still essence spirit remnant consciousnesses, while the other party had temporarily taken over the body. If they fought like this, he would lose without a doubt. Longao did not expect that Fangxia would use this move on him. Suddenly opening her eyes, Fangxia's eyes shot out a cold light as she sneered and said, Longao, you are the most arrogant person I have ever seen, but I like your character very much. This old man has never accepted a disciple. Xia was the first, and I hope you will be the second. As long as you are willing to worship me, I can guarantee that within 100 years, your cultivation will break through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord. How about it? Breaking through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord within 100 years. For a Starry Sky cultivator, especially a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator, it was simply a huge temptation. If it was an ordinary person, they would definitely not be able to resist such a temptation. But what about Longao? Longao smiled and said in a carefree manner, Do you think I care about you? How laughable. A person who doesn't even dare to speak about his life dares to dawdle here. What a joke. Instead of getting angry, he laughed, as if the more Longao behaved like this, the more the other party admired him. He said, This old man will never change his name. Ningwuk is this old man? Ningwuk? Longao had never heard of Ningwuk before, but he thought that this person's reputation should be very big. Brat, not everyone has an opportunity like yours. Let me give you a piece of advice. You'd better agree to my request. Otherwise, I can only kill you and occupy your body. At that time, even if you beg me, I may not accept you as my disciple. Threats and threats. Ningwuk valued Longao's talent and potential, but Longao shook his head and said, Sorry, I have no interest in you. But if I destroy you, or refine your primordial spirit into a starry sky godhead, it might be a very good thing. What do you think? This time, Ningwuk was really a little angry. With his status and strength, he was actually rejected and ignored by the other party again and again. Chapter 2036. Longao, I gave you face, but you don't want it. Retard. Longao's face was filled with disdain and contempt. Before Ningguang could make a move, Longao used his finger as a sword and shot out a ray of reincarnation sword chi. The space on the left was sliced open and a space crack appeared. Ningguang was shocked. Space crack. Not daring to be careless, Ningguang hurriedly dodged but was still almost swallowed by the space crack. You are courting death. With a stride, Ningguang's figure was already charging towards Longao at an extremely fast speed. A powerful domain started to envelop Ningguang. This time, Longao also wanted to try and see if he could destroy Ningguang. If it was his original body, he wouldn't even need to fight and would immediately turn and leave. But now, the situation was different. Ningguang's original body had already fallen and only his primordial spirit was left. In order to end the battle quickly, Longao took out the 7-star pearl at the beginning of the battle. 7 terrifying astral powers were released at the same time, suppressing Ningguang at the same time. According to Longao's calculations, with the power of the 7 stars pearl, it would only take a few minutes to suppress Ningguang's primordial spirit. But the result? A shocking scene happened. Longao never expected that Ningguang's primordial spirit wouldn't be suppressed by the 7 primordial spirits. Instead, it started to suppress the 7 stars pearl. This was too much of a pain in the ass. How strong was Ningguang? Longao was almost certain that if it was his original body, the 7 of them wouldn't be Ningguang's match. Since he couldn't win, he should leave first. Longao didn't fight to the end because Ningguang's strength had already exceeded his knowledge. He should leave first and see how he could deal with Ningguang. Longao made use of teleportation and disappeared without a trace after a few teleportations. Ningguang didn't give chase because he was only a remnant primordial spirit. If he were to chase after her recklessly, who knew what would happen? His remnant primordial spirit retreated and returned the control of the body to Fangxia. Master, where is Longao? He ran away. Ran away? Even Fangxia found it hard to believe that Longao had escaped from her master's hands. Others might not know her master's strength, but she did. Master, what should we do now? Let's endure it for now. When Master is reborn, then, Longao left the universe plane and stared coldly at the universe plane in front of him. Even now, he still hadn't realized that Fangxia's master was so powerful. Fighting 1 against 7, Ningguang's remnant primordial spirit suppressed the 7-star beads. Longao and Butian quickly contacted each other. It was still the same plane, the same cold place. Brother Long, you didn't kill Fangxia? Butian was very curious. Although Fangxia was the Starry Sky Domain Lord, with Longao's strength, killing Fangxia would be a matter of minutes. And the result? It was a little strange. Longao did not hide anything and recounted everything that had happened in the Qingquan Plain. The more he heard, the uglier his expression became. Big Brother Boo, do you know Ningguang? Although there were countless Starry Sky Domain Lords in the vast universe, Ningguang was so powerful that he definitely wasn't a nobody. With Butian's status and strength, he should know Ningguang's situation. Ningguang, it's actually Ningguang. As expected. Looking at Butian's expression, Longao knew that Big Brother Boo definitely knew Ningguang. Big Brother Boo, who is Ningguang? Brother Long, you don't know. Many years ago, a peerless genius was born. In just a few thousand years, he had already reached the pinnacle of Starry Sky Domain Lord. He was invincible in tens of thousands of realms. Longao had already guessed it. He wasn't surprised at all. So Ningguang was so powerful. Many years ago, a peerless genius was born. In just a few thousand years, he had already reached the pinnacle of Starry Sky Domain Lord. He was invincible in tens of thousands of realms. Longao couldn't figure it out. Since Ningguang was so powerful, how did he die? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, he continued, Ningguang's death is still a mystery, because no one knows how he died. However, Brother Long, with your current situation, you definitely aren't Ningguang's match, even if it's me. Shock. Big Brother Boo, isn't this a little too exaggerated? Brother Long, there are some things you still don't understand. When your cultivation breaks through to Starry Sky Domain Lord, you will naturally understand. Bution was obviously unwilling to say more. Since that was the case, Longao didn't ask anymore. In the end, it was still because he wasn't strong enough. However, a level 9 starry sky cultivator wasn't much in the vast universe. Longao thought that his cultivation speed was already very fast. In just a few years, he had broken through from a Hotion realm warrior to a level 9 starry sky cultivator. However, in the vast universe, it wasn't much because there were many people who cultivated faster than him. It was because of the environment. Longao was completely confident. Now that he had come to the vast universe and cultivated in such an environment, he believed that in less than 100 years, he would definitely reach Starry Sky Territory Ancestor or even Starry Sky Domain Lord. Brother Long, with your talent and potential, even in the vast universe, you are a very good existence. I believe that you are confident that you can reach my level in at most 100 years. At that time, it won't be too late to deal with Fangxia. There's no need to fight with her now. It won't do you any good. Longao nodded. How could he not understand Big Brother Boo's worries? If it was just Fangxia alone, he wouldn't be afraid at all. However, Fangxia had Ning Wux's help now. It was almost impossible for him to kill Fangxia. The only thing he could do now was to wait. He had to wait for his cultivation to break through. As long as he could reach Starry Sky Territory Ancestor, he would dare to try and deal with Ning Wux. Big Brother Boo, I will go to the Heaven-Devouring Empire to take a look. Bution seemed a little dumbfounded. He said, Brother Long, I know that you aren't afraid of anything. However, there are some things that you can't do now. For example, the Heaven-Devouring Empire. With your strength and the matter with the third prince, if you appear in the Heaven-Devouring Empire, you will definitely be killed. In my opinion, you should stay here and cultivate. It won't be too late to go to the Heaven-Devouring Empire after you break through to Starry Sky Territory Lord. Longao thought about it and decided to give up on going to the Heaven-Devouring Empire. After all, it wasn't a wise choice to fight with Ning Wux head-on. Chapter 2037. No one knew about the relationship between Longao and Bution. This was the reason why. Up till now, the Heaven-Devouring Empire was still relying on Bution to kill Longao. If the Heaven-Devouring Empire knew about this, they might go easy on Bution because he was the Universal Domain Lord. It was hard to tell who was right and who was wrong. Longao didn't continue attacking Heaven and Earth Sect. No matter what, Ning Wux was too strong. Even the 7-star pearl couldn't suppress Ning Wux. Bution chose to leave. Longao chose to stay and prepare to break through to the Universal Domain Lord level. He was just one step away, using the power of the universe to condense it into star domain power. It sounded simple, but it was extremely difficult. This time, Longao decided that he wouldn't leave until he broke through to the Universal Domain Lord level. The weather was cold. Longao sat on the ground quietly. The energy in his body started to circulate, round after round, until it reached an endless state. I still can't break through. What's going on? He still had not broken through, which made Longao very curious, because under normal circumstances, his cultivation should have broken through long ago. Master, you need a large amount of energy to devour. Hearing Long Fu's message, Longao had already guessed it. Since that was the case, why should he continue cultivating? Devour energy. The vast starry sky was fundamentally different from an ordinary plane. Longao did not hold back at all. He continuously devoured the primordial spirits of the starry sky cultivators. In just a few days, he had devoured the primordial spirits of hundreds of starry sky cultivators. Longao's dantian was like a bottomless abyss. No matter how many yuan spirits he devoured, it was still far from enough. Longao was also extremely depressed. Just where the F***CK was he going to devour to? Master, there's a way for you to break through to the Universal Domain Lord level. What way? Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was overjoyed and couldn't wait to ask. Master, you won't be able to devour the 7 primordial spirits in the 7-star pearl. Their physiques are different. As for the primordial spirit of the Universe Realm Lord, I'm planning to refine a corpse slave for you, but I won't be able to devour it either. Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know what Long Fu wanted to say. Master, let's talk about your breakthrough later. Why don't you give me the 7 stars pearl, and I will forcibly imprint it into the Chinkuan Realm Lord skeleton. At that time, the corpse demon refined by the Chinkuan Realm Lord would be able to reach the peak of the starry sky, far surpassing all other world overlords. He nodded. The 7 primordial spirits within the 7-star bead were unable to resist the true starry sky realm lord. If he could fuse the 7-star bead into the corpse of the universe realm lord, it might not be a bad thing. Giving the 7-star bead to Long Fu, Long Ao naturally knew what Long Fu meant. Fusing the primordial spirits of 7 world overlords into a corpse demon, one could imagine how strong it would be. Long Fu, how long will it take? He couldn't wait any longer. Long Ao had already thought it through. Once the corpse demon was refined, not only the universe sect, but even the heaven-devouring empire would have to be eradicated. At that time, he would definitely head over to the heaven-devouring empire personally. I don't know, but it shouldn't be short. Long Fu was helpless and continued, Master, I've already said that if you want to break through to the starry sky domain lord level, just devouring the primordial spirits of other cultivators is far from enough. Then what should I do? Only by breaking through to the starry sky domain lord level could one be considered a true expert. Breaking through to the starry sky domain lord level was a must. Master, I'll borrow the power of the dragon seal to help you break through. Will it affect me? Leave it to me. Long Ao entered the dragon seal space and immediately started cultivating. The entire dragon seal was mobilized by Long Fu, and energy started flowing into Long Ao's body like water droplets entering the ocean. Just as Long Fu had guessed, the power of the dragon seal was far above the primordial spirits of other cultivators. 3 days later, the starry sky domain within Long Ao's body instantly condensed into star domain power. This also meant that Long Ao's cultivation base had advanced smoothly from a level 9 starry sky cultivator to a starry sky domain lord. Although it was only a 1-grade breakthrough, the difference in strength was huge. He couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. This time, it was all thanks to Long Fu. Otherwise, who knew how long it would take for him to break through from a level 9 cultivator to a starry sky domain lord? Master, you've successfully broken through. Based on this situation, it seems a little difficult for you to break through to the starry sky domain lord level. Even the dragon seal won't be able to replenish your energy. He let out a deep sigh. Although the reincarnation sacred body was the first physique, it required too much energy, like a bottomless abyss. Just breaking through to the starry sky domain lord level required the help of the dragon seal. It was far from enough to devour the primordial spirits of starry sky cultivators. It was hard to imagine how much energy it would take to break through to the starry sky domain lord level. Even the dragon seal couldn't help him. It was really difficult to rely on devouring the primordial spirits of starry sky cultivators. Long Fu, I already know what you mean. From now on, I'll keep devouring the primordial spirits of starry sky cultivators. I don't believe that it'll be useless if I keep devouring. Master, with your current strength, once you use all kinds of trump cards, even a starry sky domain lord won't be able to resist you. According to my guess, as long as you keep devouring, you'll need about 1 to 3 years to successfully accumulate enough energy. At that time, it won't be impossible for you to break through to the starry sky domain lord level in one fell swoop. 1 to 3 years to break through from starry sky domain lord to starry sky domain emperor might sound like a long time, but for starry sky cultivators, 1 to 3 years was just a blink of an eye. Moreover, one could continue to break through in such a short time. If other starry sky cultivators knew about this, they might die of envy. People with great talents could indeed make breakthroughs in just a few years, but for ordinary starry sky cultivators, it would take decades or even centuries for them to break through from starry sky domain lord to starry sky domain emperor. Long Ao left the dragon seal space and stood on the peak of the mountain, stretching his body. The breakthrough in his cultivation made his strength soar again. Now, he could almost kill anyone below the starry sky domain lord level. As for the starry sky domain lord level, it wouldn't be difficult for him. This was Long Ao. Originally, Longao didn't want to continue to deal with the Chinkuan sect, but with the breakthrough in his cultivation, he was ready to give it a try. Even if he couldn't kill Fangxia, there was still the whole Chinkuan sect. Chapter 2038. Longao wasn't dead. Everyone thought that with Realm Lord Butian's arrival, Longao was dead for sure. But in the end, Longao was still fine, which made everyone curious. Could it be that Realm Lord Butian was dying? Butian looked very anxious, but he wasn't anxious at all. As for the 6 Starry Sky sector lords, they were frantically looking for Longao. However, it was a little difficult to find a trace of a person in a realm with tens of thousands of planes. The 6 of them were worried that if Longao left the world surface, even the heaven-devouring empire wouldn't be able to find Longao. Just as the 6 of them were frantically searching for Longao, Longao's figure silently appeared on Chinkuan Peak. Reincarnation Lightning Strike. With the breakthrough in his cultivation, Longao's strength surged once more. Under the continuous attacks, the entire Chinkuan Peak was destroyed before Fangxia could react. In the following period of time, Longao began to chase away the people on the world's surface. As for the ordinary people, those who hadn't reached the universal realm, Longao took them away and placed them in other worlds. 10 days later, 99% of the people were taken away by Longao. Only the Chinkuan sect members were left. Brother Long, are you sure you want to do this? Butian was very depressed because Longao's method was a bit too crazy. I've made up my mind. Brother Long, you must think clearly. In the vast starry sky, no matter which plane it is, no one dares to destroy a plane. This is something that no starry sky cultivator dares to do. If you destroy the Chinkuan plane, you will become the public enemy of the vast starry sky. Public enemy? Would Longao care? If Longao was afraid, he wouldn't have offended Chinkuan sect and heaven-devouring empire. He even killed the 3rd prince. Butian sighed deeply. Butian knew Longao's character well. Once he decided on something, he wouldn't change his mind. There was no point in continuing to persuade him. Brother Long, be careful. Yes. After Butian left, Longao came to this plane. Even a starry sky sector lord couldn't destroy a plane, let alone a starry sky domain lord. However, it was possible with the help of some powerful starry sky divine artifacts. However, no one did so. Just as Mufan had said, no matter who it was, as long as they destroyed any plane, they would become the public enemy of the vast starry sky. Everyone had the right to kill them. Many years ago, a starry sky sector lord used a powerful starry sky divine artifact to destroy a plane, angering several starry sky empires, and was destroyed by them. Since then, no one dared to take such a risk, even if it was to avenge the death of one's father. With Longao's strength alone, it was naturally impossible for him to destroy the universe plane. However, Longao wasn't worried at all. Master, you must remember one thing. You must end the battle quickly. Otherwise, once the matter of the dragon seal is leaked, the consequences will be unimaginable. Longao wanted to borrow the power of the dragon seal to destroy the entire universe plane. If it was in the Sky Martial continent, it would be impossible for the dragon seal to do this. But now, the situation was completely different. Ever since Longao stepped into the vast starry sky, the dragon seal began to devour the surrounding starry sky force. In just a few months, it had recovered a lot and was able to destroy a plane. However, at this time, Long Fu didn't advise Longao to do it. However, Longao had already made up his mind. No one could persuade him otherwise. Let's begin. Longao was very clear of Long Fu's worries. The dragon seal was a famous starry sky divine artifact. If it was leaked, there would be a lot of trouble. Longao threw the dragon seal. The small black seal flew above the plane and became a huge black seal. The destruction began. In just a few minutes, the entire universe plane was constantly smashed by the dragon seal. The plane began to shatter. However, the universe plane was still a high-level plane. Even if it was the dragon seal, it wouldn't be easy to completely destroy it. He had to end the battle quickly. Just as everyone rushed over after hearing the news, Longao had already disappeared with the dragon seal. As for the universe plane, it had turned into pieces and disappeared into the vast starry sky without a trace. Looking at the universe plane that had been destroyed and disappeared, everyone was dumbfounded, because no one thought that Longao would really go against the rules of the vast starry sky and destroy the universe plane. Although they were shocked, they were even more furious. No matter who it was, even the ruler of the starry sky, they wouldn't dare to casually destroy a plane. After all, such a thing was hated by everyone. If it was light, they would be killed. If it was heavy, even their Yuan spirit would be destroyed. Feng Xia and the others had fled in time. If they hadn't been careful, they really would have disappeared along with the plane. The news of Longao destroying the Qinkuan plane instantly spread out. This kind of thing was hard to come by in 10,000 years. While everyone was feeling angry, they were also amazed by Longao's madness. He was simply a madman. How many people would want to provoke such a madman? Not only did Longao go against the Qinkuan sect, he didn't even put the heaven-devouring empire in his eyes. Now that he had destroyed a Qinkuan plane, no one would want to offend such a vicious and fearless lunatic. Everyone was discussing spiritedly, and the target was Longao. After various things, Longao became completely famous. With the destruction of the universe plane, the entire universe sect was finished. Only Ancestor Qiankuan, Situ He, and Feng Xia were left. Strictly speaking, there were only two people left. One was Ancestor Qiankuan, and the other was Feng Xia. After finding a new mid-grade plane, Ancestor Qiankuan and Feng Xia's faces were extremely dark. They didn't expect Longao to be so crazy as to destroy the entire universe plane. Was Longao not afraid of being hunted down by the people in the vast starry sky? Ancestor, what should we do now? What can we do? We're out in the open while Longao is in the dark. But don't worry, Longao has destroyed the universe plane. If nothing unexpected happens, many people will be willing to kill Longao. At that time, we won't have to do anything. As for the destroyed sect, we'll rebuild it sooner or later. Standing by the side, Situ he shook his head and said disapprovingly, "Old brother, things aren't as simple as you think. Longao is like a lunatic. Under such circumstances, no matter how angry people are, no one would want to offend Longao unless the heaven-devouring empire took action personally. However, I noticed that Butian seems to be stalling for time. This way, someone will deal with Longao." Situ He's reminder made Ancestor Qiankuan understand the seriousness of the matter. Thinking about it now, things weren't that simple. If it were anything else, no one would care. The only exception was the primal chaos stone tablet. Every cultivator in the starry skies knew of the legend of the 12 primal chaos stone tablets. Moreover, there was a legend that spread throughout the vast starry skies. Anyone who could obtain a primal chaos stone tablet could become a ruler of the starry skies. Did Longao really have a primal chaos stone tablet? No one was a fool. Of all times, this news just had to be spread now. Anyone with eyes could tell that this was a scheme of Heaven and Earth sect. They wanted to use the primal chaos stone tablet to kill a Mowuji. If one believed this news, then one would be a fool. Heaven and Earth sect was shameless to the extreme. They didn't even hesitate to spread the news of the primal chaos stone tablet. However, there were still some people who weren't afraid of death and liked to meddle in other people's business. Without mentioning the primal chaos stone tablet, just the fact that Longao destroyed the Heaven and Earth plane was enough to infuriate everyone. Many people wanted to kill Longao. Longao ignored everyone. If one came, he would kill one. If two came, he would kill two. His cultivation had just broken through to the universal domain lord level. Longao was prepared to continue devouring the primordial spirits of other cultivators. He hoped that he could break through to the universal domain lord level in the shortest time possible. According to what Long Fu said, if he wanted to break through to the universal domain lord level, the amount of primordial spirits he needed to devour was simply too large. It wasn't something that could be done by devouring a few people. Brother Long, things aren't good. What's wrong? Only two people knew of Longao's whereabouts. One of them was Jimei, and the other was Butian. However, The two of them naturally wouldn't reveal Longao's whereabouts. Brother Long, you destroyed the heaven and earth plane previously and infuriated everyone. Many cultivators have formed a crusade alliance to kill you. They won't let this matter rest. Crusade alliance? Up until now, Ijime still couldn't react in time. He had never thought that Longao would do such a crazy thing. Even the Starry Sky Sector Lord wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Now that the Subjugation Crusade Alliance was formed, it would be troublesome to deal with them. Longao wasn't surprised at all. Since he dared to destroy the heaven and earth plane, he had already thought of the consequences. As for the so-called Crusade Alliance, it was simply a joke. If he suffered a few losses in a row, he believed that the Crusade Alliance would collapse by itself. Longao didn't care at all. He smiled and said, "It's fine. When the time comes, I will block soldiers with arms and water with an earthweir. Jime, do you know where I can find a powerful source of energy? I want to break through to the Universal Domain Lord level, and I need a huge amount of energy." Jime knew Longao's character very well. What else could he say? Longao had just stepped into the vast starry sky and didn't know much about the starry sky. However, Jime was a native, which was why Longao asked Jime. After thinking for a while, Jime said, "Brother Long, I remember a place. There aren't any starry sky cultivators in this plane. All of them are starry sky divine beasts. Ordinary starry sky cultivators don't dare to step into this plane. However, there are adventurers who go there. Firstly, they want to find a companion or a mount. Secondly, they want to cultivate there because this place is indeed a holy land for cultivation." This was the kind of place he wanted. Longao couldn't wait and asked, "Jime, what kind of plane is it?" "Divine Beast Plane." "Brother Long, do you really want to enter the Divine Beast Plane?" "Let me tell you, the guardian of the Divine Beast Plane is a peak starry sky territory ancestor divine beast. Unless the Universal Domain Lord comes, no one can defeat this starry sky territory ancestor divine beast." Jime didn't need Longao to answer. He had already guessed that Longao would definitely go to the Divine Beast Plane. Just as he expected, Longao smiled and asked Iji Plum Blossom for the specific location before setting off alone. Longao was also like this. Generally, he would not involve his friends in dangerous matters. After all, Iji Plum Blossom was just a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Without any protection, going to the God Beast Plane would only result in death. Chapter 2040. The Divine Beast Plane was a high-level plane. Just as Plum Blossom had said, there were divine beasts everywhere in the Divine Beast Plane. Ordinary starry sky cultivators wouldn't dare to enter the Divine Beast Plane. Longao carefully entered the Divine Beast Plane according to the location Plum Blossom had told him. He headed straight for his destination. The sacred cultivation ground was in the center of the Divine Beast Plane. The Divine Beast Plane was huge. Even with Longao's speed and caution, it would take him about 2 hours to reach his destination. It was a huge lake. The flaming red vermilion bird. Longao was curious why a fire-attributed starry sky divine beast would choose this place to cultivate. After all, water and fire were incompatible. "Senior, I didn't mean to offend you." Longao didn't try to hide. As soon as he stepped into the destination, he was locked on by an aura. Without a doubt, the flaming red vermilion bird had locked onto him. It would be a lie if he said he wasn't afraid. No matter what, the flaming red vermilion bird was a starry sky territory ancestor divine beast. Even Ancestor Chinkuin and Situ, he together wouldn't be its match. The flaming red vermilion bird was a peak starry sky territory ancestor divine beast. A figure flashed by. A peerless beauty appeared and sneered. "Didn't mean to offend you? I think you came here intentionally. Kid, you should know that those who trespass on the Forbidden Land will be killed without mercy." Since he had come, Longao wasn't afraid at all. "Senior, I came here to cultivate and break through to the Starry Sky Territory Emperor realm. As a condition, I can agree to one of your conditions. What do you think?" He was neither servile nor overbearing. He didn't show any fear. The flaming red vermilion bird was curious and surprised. He could clearly sense that the other party was just a starry sky territory lord. Did he have something to rely on? Any condition? Let's hear it first. Longao wasn't a fool. Of course, he wouldn't agree first. What if the flaming red vermilion bird wanted him to commit suicide? As if it could guess what Longao was thinking, Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird thought for a moment, then smiled and said, "Boy, your courage is not bad. I like it very much. There is no free lunch in this world. If you want to cultivate here, you can stay here and cultivate for 10 years as long as you can help me complete a task. How about it?" He didn't need for 10 years. However, Longao did not immediately agree and did not speak, because he didn't know what the flaming red vermilion bird wanted him to do. However, with the crimson flame vermilion bird's strength, what it needed him to do was definitely not simple. Senior, my condition. His smile was very wretched and ambiguous. The scarlet flame vermilion bird looked at the human in front of her and said, "Little brat, I think you're quite handsome. I've been lonely for so many years. As long as you agree to accompany me for 10 years, you can cultivate here for 10 years. Before Longao could say anything, the flaming red vermilion bird continued, "After 10 years, if you want to cultivate here, it depends on whether I'm interested or not. If I'm not interested, I'm sorry, but you have to leave." What the F***ck? He cursed in his heart. Longao understood what the flaming red vermilion bird meant. She wanted him to be a gigolo and accompany her for 10 years, selling himself in exchange for 10 years of cultivation. If he were another starry sky cultivator, he would have agreed. However, Longao sneered and said, "Senior, I respect that you're a territory ancestor of the starry sky, so I'm very polite to you. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit." Refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? Hearing that, the flaming red vermilion bird laughed crazily. His laughter was full of disdain and mockery. A little starry sky territory lord dared to behave atrociously here. Had the world changed? "Kid, I refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. I want to see what you're going to do." Longao didn't care about her. He walked to the lake. According to E.G. May, the holy land of cultivation was this lake. Plop. Longao's body entered the lake and disappeared in a blink of an eye. "They're mine. You wait for me." The flaming red vermilion bird didn't react. Although she was guarding this holy land, she couldn't enter the lake to cultivate. She could only stay here and release wisps of energy. Even so, after so many years of cultivation, she had reached the peak territory ancestor realm. She only needed one more step to break through to the starry sky territory lord realm. Because she couldn't enter the lake to cultivate, she couldn't break through even though she was only one step away. It was the most helpless thing for her. Usually, no one dared to enter the lake without her permission. Women didn't have a chance. Men could cultivate in the lake as long as they accompanied her. Inside the lake, with Longao's strength, entering the lake was like entering a space. As soon as he entered, Long Fu sent him a message with his spiritual consciousness. He was pleasantly surprised. "Master, the energy here is too strong. If the dragon seal can absorb the energy here, it can recover 1/3 or even more." Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was also overjoyed in his heart, because the dragon seal had only recovered 1/10, and it was already able to destroy a plane. Moreover, it was a high-level plane. If the dragon seal could recover 1/3, it was hard to imagine how powerful the dragon seal would be. If the dragon seal was at its peak, it was really unimaginable. "Long Fu, what should I do?" "Master, leave the rest to me. However, the energy here is suitable for the dragon seal to recover. I won't devour it." Longao knew what Long Fu meant. Whether it was him devouring or the dragon seal devouring, it would be beneficial to him. If he had to choose between the two, Longao would choose to let the dragon seal devour the energy instead of devouring it himself. He could devour the yuan spirit and energy of starry sky cultivators at any time, but the dragon seal didn't have such an opportunity all the time. "Thank you, Master. Do we still need to thank you?" Longao smiled. The faster the dragon seal recovered, the more powerful it would be, and the more it would help him. This was always a good thing. "Long Fu, quick, what should I do now?" "Master, if the dragon seal devours directly, it won't be able to maximize the energy here. I thought about it, and there is only one way, which is to use your body to devour the energy and then transfer it to the dragon seal. Although it won't cause you any harm, it will be very painful. Do you think I'm afraid of pain? He didn't even fear death, let alone the so-called pain. Chapter 2041. The power contained within the entire lake was simply too great. Even the dragon seal couldn't instantly devour it. To be safe and to maximize the use of the power here, Long Fu decided to borrow his master's body. Longao's body was the medium. Without wasting any time, the two immediately began. Longao began to borrow the power of the dragon seal to crazily devour the power in the lake. The speed of devouring was slow, then faster and faster. Just like that, Longao began to devour the power at the bottom of the lake. As for the scarlet vermilion bird, she stubbornly guarded the lake. She didn't believe that Longao could hide here forever. As long as he came out, she would kill him without mercy. Gradually, the scarlet vermilion bird felt that something was wrong. It was only the third day, but the power of the entire lake seemed to have weakened by 1%. If it was anyone else, they definitely wouldn't be able to sense it. But the scarlet vermilion bird was different. She had been guarding here for countless years. Even if there was a slight change in the lake, she could clearly sense it. The power was constantly weakening, which could only mean one thing. The other party was devouring the power. Was that possible? Kid, hurry up and come out. Although the scarlet vermilion bird didn't know how the other party was doing it, it couldn't go on like this. If the power of the entire lake was devoured, even if she killed the other party, it would be useless. The scarlet vermilion bird panicked. There was no reply. Longao could obviously hear the scarlet vermilion bird's voice, but he still chose to ignore it. This time, he risked his life to enter the god-beast realm to devour the power. Now that he was finally helping the dragon seal, would he stop? He continued to devour crazily. Long Fu, the speed of devouring is getting slower and slower. Sensing that his speed of devouring was getting slower and slower, Longao was a little surprised. He didn't know what was going on. Thinking about it, Longao finally determined that the main reason why his speed of devouring was getting slower and slower was because his body couldn't withstand the impact of the power. It was fine for a short time, but for a long time, it was unrealistic to say that there was no harm to the body. Regarding this point, whether it was Longao or Long Fu, neither of them thought of it. In the end, the power of the lake was too strong. Long Fu also noticed this problem. Master, please stop devouring first. Let me think about what to do. Longao didn't stop either, but he deliberately slowed down. If he were to help the dragon seal devour the energy and cause problems to his body, the gains would not make up for the losses. The devouring speed had slowed down by 3 times. Even so, Longao still felt a little uncomfortable. Long Fu's expression was very solemn. If the dragon seal directly swallowed it, it would waste at least half of its power. At that time, not to mention recovering half of its power with the help of the dragon seal, it was unknown whether it could recover a quarter or even a tenth of its power. He thought about it over and over again. In the end, Long Fu still decided to let the dragon mark devour directly because he knew very well that it wasn't worth it to destroy his master's body because of the dragon mark's devouring power. Long Fu, are you really going to do this? Even without Long Fu saying it, Longao had already guessed what Long Fu was going to do. Without a doubt, Long Fu was definitely going to let the dragon seal devour. This way, although the devouring speed was fast and safe, the only drawback was that it couldn't devour all of the energy. Master, I've already decided. Longao didn't have a better way to devour the surrounding energy and could only make this choice. Since he said so, he did it. Long Fu began to devour. The dragon seal's devouring speed was indeed crazy. It was 100 times faster than Longao's devouring speed. However, the amount of energy that was wasted was also huge. Long Fu's prediction was still good. According to this method, not to mention devouring half of the energy, it was unknown if it could even maintain a tenth of its power. The power of the lake continued to weaken, causing the scarlet flame vermilion bird to be depressed. Just as the scarlet flame vermilion bird was about to gather its subordinates and enter the lake to take a look. The power of the entire lake had been completely devoured. Even the scarlet flame vermilion bird could no longer feel any energy fluctuations. What in the world happened? Even if the other party had a way to devour the energy, it couldn't be done so quickly. This was King unbelievable. Even if it saw it with its own eyes, it was still unbelievable. The scarlet flame vermilion bird was dumbfounded. In fact, Long Fu and Longao were also depressed. If they wanted to devour the entire lake, it would take at least a few years. Even if it was fast, it would still take a few months. But now, Long Fu could only devour a tenth of the energy. The remaining 90% of the energy was all wasted. Because of the dragon seals devouring and the energy being wasted, it was no longer a holy land for cultivation. Anger. Endless anger. The scarlet flame vermilion bird was completely enraged. For so many years, such a thing had never happened before. If it didn't kill the other party, it wouldn't be able to swallow this anger. Where was he? The lake that had lost its power was no longer of any use to the scarlet flame vermilion bird. With the help of its great spirit power, the scarlet flame vermilion bird directly burned the entire lake, instantly turning it into a huge pit. But what made the scarlet flame vermilion bird dumbfounded was that the other party had disappeared. What was going on? It was as if it had seen a ghost in broad daylight. A small, starry sky domain lord had not only devoured all the energy, but had also disappeared right under its nose. Was this possible? Impossible. It was absolutely impossible. The scarlet flame vermilion bird couldn't believe what it had seen. It was a little unbelievable. Moreover, it was certain that the other party was still here, but had hidden himself with the help of a starry sky divine tool. Brat, you have already touched my bottom line. Come out obediently, and I can still let you live. If I find you, I will make you beg for death. The crimson flame vermilion bird was clearly enraged, and even his voice was trembling, but after thinking about it for a moment, he felt relieved. As the god-beast plane's strongest master, if this matter were to spread out, where would he put his face? What does it have to do with me? The power of the lake dissipated on its own. I was wondering why I didn't devour any energy at all. Scarlet flame vermilion bird, what happened just now? If I hadn't dodged in time, I believe that I would have died by now. Shameless, simply shameless to the extreme. The scarlet flame vermilion bird was so angry that she almost died. She had seen shameless people before, but she had never seen such a shameless person. He was completely lying through his teeth. The power of the lake was clearly related to him, but now he was asking her about it. Such a person could only be described with one word: shameless. Chapter 2042. Kid, come out if you've got the guts. What's the point of being so sneaky? Are you even a man? He was trying to goad Lin Fan into coming out. Even till now, the vermilion bird was still unable to lock onto Lin Fan's location. He was still in disbelief. To think that he couldn't even lock onto the location of a puny Star Zone lord. Vermilion bird, there's no grudge between us. I'd better leave first. Kid, you. No matter how much the vermilion bird screamed, Long Ao had already lost his voice. Could the other party have really left? Of course, Long Ao hadn't left yet. The dragon seal hadn't even recovered half of its power. Even if he could control the dragon seal, he couldn't move it. Long Ao was sure that the vermilion bird wouldn't be able to stay for long. Just as expected, tens of minutes later, the vermilion bird was sure that the other party had already left. Furthermore, the power of the lake had already disappeared. What was the point of staying any longer? Left with no choice, the vermilion bird could only choose to leave. The moment the vermilion bird left, Long Ao's figure appeared once more. He was somewhat indignant. To think that the dragon seal could only devour less than 10% of the power. The remaining 90% was wasted, disappearing without a trace. According to Long Fu, the dragon seal could only devour less than 10% of the power. That was the minimum amount of help the dragon seal could provide. At most, it could only recover 10%. But for the dragon seal, this was pretty decent. Under normal circumstances, it would take at least a few thousand years for it to recover 10% of its power. There were gains and losses. Longao chuckled. He was still a little too greedy. Ever since he stepped into the universe, his greed had only gotten stronger. Not good. Just then, Longao's face changed. The space around him had been disrupted. Without a doubt, he had already guessed who it was. What a despicable vermilion bird. To think that it would turn back. Seemed like it was purposely luring him out. Ha ha ha. Kid, don't think that you can come and go as you please just because you have a space weapon. I've already disrupted the space around here. I'd like to see how you're going to enter the space weapon. Vermilion Bird Chi Yan's face was as dark as it could get. He had been toyed with by the other party. The lake that he had guarded for countless years had been devoured by the other party. How could he not be furious? Because of this lake, the scarlet flaming vermilion bird had reached the peak of Territory Ancestor Realm from the Star Territory Lord Realm. The scarlet vermilion bird wanted to use this lake to break through from the Territory Ancestor Realm to the Territory Lord of Starry Sky. But now, all of that had been shattered. Kill. However, the scarlet flame vermilion bird still didn't intend to kill him. He had to capture him and torture him properly. Otherwise, it would be difficult to dispel the hatred in his heart. Why get angry? Why get angry? Hearing the other party's words, the vermilion bird nearly fainted on the spot. She had seen arrogant and shameless people before, but the other party was truly unafraid of death. Brat. Before the scarlet flame vermilion bird could finish speaking, Longao had already counterattacked with his reincarnation sword chi and reincarnation lightning strike. Countless reincarnation sword chi were like lightning as they crazily attacked the scarlet flame vermilion bird. He sneered coldly. Since he dared to take the initiative to attack, the scarlet flame vermilion bird didn't care at all. He took a step forward and disappeared. The scarlet flame vermilion bird's speed was extremely terrifying. Moreover, the scarlet flame vermilion bird's fire attribute wasn't ordinary. The gap between their realms wasn't on the same level. Longao didn't plan to fight the other party head-on. After continuously using reincarnation lightning strike, he turned around and teleported away. So fast. The scarlet flame vermilion bird was startled. He didn't expect the other party's speed to be so fast. As if he had sensed something, the scarlet flame vermilion bird's face changed. He shouted in shock. The peak of speed. Spatial teleportation. The scarlet flame vermilion bird's speed was at the ancestor level. Of course, he knew what spatial teleportation meant. As the peak of speed, unless it was time teleportation, spatial teleportation was invincible. Fortunately, the other party's strength wasn't too strong. If the other party's cultivation base was at the Starry Sky Emperor realm, even the scarlet flame vermilion bird wouldn't be able to catch up to the other party. If the scarlet flame vermilion bird could use spatial teleportation, he would be excited just thinking about it. In order to ensure that he could catch up to the other party, the scarlet flame vermilion bird transformed into his true form. A huge vermilion bird appeared, covering the sky. Whether it was the speed or strength of the original body, it was far above the human form. The scarlet flame vermilion bird's transformation speed was too fast. Even if Longao used spatial teleportation, it would be hard to shake off the other party. If this continued, he would be killed sooner or later. The consequences would be unimaginable. What should he do? At the moment of life and death, Longao used spatial teleportation to escape while thinking of various methods. From the beginning to the end, he was depressed about one thing. That was the dragon seal space. If he could ignore the spatial fluctuations, he could enter it at any time. Then, not to mention the scarlet flame vermilion bird, he wouldn't even be afraid of the Starry Sky Realm Lord. The dragon seal space only had one flaw. As long as it was disturbed by the spatial fluctuations, then no matter how hard he tried, he wouldn't be able to enter it. In the end, it was because the dragon seal was too damaged and hadn't recovered. If the dragon seal was at its peak, it would definitely ignore the spatial fluctuations. Now that he was depressed about these things, it was useless. The most important thing now was to think of a way to shake off the scarlet flame vermilion bird. If he could smoothly leave the god-beast realm, then it would be impossible for the scarlet flame vermilion bird to find him in the boundless world. But could he smoothly leave the god-beast realm? Longao wasn't confident because the distance between him and the scarlet flame vermilion bird was getting shorter and shorter. At this speed, the scarlet flame vermilion bird would catch up to him in less than 10 minutes. At that time, it would be hard to say whether he would live or die. Big brother, I'll help you block the scarlet flame vermilion bird. You leave first. No. Although Long Chong's cultivation had reached the Starry Sky Realm Lord and his strength was enough to sweep away all the Starry Sky Realm God beasts of the same level, Long Chong's strength wasn't on the same level as the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. If the two of them fought, Long Chong would only die. How could Long Ao agree to this kind of thing? He would rather die than let anything happen to Long Chong. Big brother, I have a way to shake off the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. Don't tell me you don't believe me? It wasn't that he didn't believe him, but he didn't dare to gamble. If something happened to Long Chong, what would he do? I don't agree to this. Big brother, it's too late. When the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird catches up to you, I will also die with you. Chapter 2043. Long Ao was still worried. What if something happened to Long Chong? However, since Long Chong insisted, Long Ao had no choice but to leave, leaving Long Chong to face the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird alone. A dragon roar resounded. Long Chong's gigantic body appeared in the air. He and the Vermilion Bird staring at each other. If you want to hurt my big brother, you have to get through me first. Starry Sky Domain Lord Divine Beast? The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was dumbfounded. What was going on today? Why did she keep meeting people who weren't afraid of death? Without saying anything else, the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird attacked. As for Long Chong, he wouldn't fight the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird head-on. He knew that even his big brother wasn't its opponent, let alone him. The reason why Long Chong acted this way was to buy time for Long Ao. Long Chong's speed was extremely fast, but the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird soon caught up. Just as the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was about to attack, Long Ao's figure suddenly appeared and slashed out with his sword. The reincarnation sword she ruthlessly slashed out. Even the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird didn't dare to take it head-on. While the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was dodging, Long Ao directly appeared beside Long Chong. If there's a next time, we can't be brothers anymore. How could Long Ao not know Long Chong's intention? He wanted to use some secret technique to fight the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird alone to protect himself. Long Chong was directly sucked into Long Ao's arm. No matter what happened to Long Chong, he wouldn't believe Long Chong's words. He would rather die than let anything happen to Long Chong. Towering anger. The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird felt that she was being played. This was too much. To her, it was a great humiliation. If the other party was a Starry Sky Domain Lord, it would be fine if he was just a Starry Sky Domain ancestor. Kid, I want it. Long Ao still didn't give the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird any chance to open its mouth. Just as Long Ao and the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird were about to fight, the power of the Star World suddenly descended and firmly enveloped the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. Starry Sky Sector Lord. He was completely stunned. Looking at the man who suddenly appeared beside Long Ao, Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird's face instantly turned ugly. She never thought that a Starry Sky Realm Lord would suddenly appear. Who are you? How dare you interfere in our feud? Crimson Flame, we haven't seen each other in so many years. Don't tell me you don't even recognize your old friend? Hearing this, the Vermilion Bird seemed to have guessed something and asked, You are Bution? Looks like you haven't forgotten about me. The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird was forced to retreat as its expression became increasingly ugly. The murderous aura around its body seemed to have solidified as it surged forward. Long Ao didn't think that Bution would suddenly come. Without a doubt, he had already guessed the reason. If he wasn't mistaken, then the reason why Bution suddenly came was because he saw a plum blossom. Indeed, such friends were not misplaced. Bution was definitely afraid that something would happen to him and personally came to help him. However, his intuition told Long Ao that Big Brother Boo and Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird definitely knew each other. Could it be the two of them? As if he had guessed something, Long Ao still didn't believe his own guess. If it was true, then it would be too inconceivable. He sighed deeply. Bution said helplessly, "Scarlet Flame, I have let you down in the past. Brother Long is my friend. Let him go first, and we will slowly settle our matters in the future. How about it?" "No, he has devoured all the energy. My cultivation has no hope of breaking through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord in this lifetime. If I let him go, how can I face myself?" He was extremely shocked. Bution also never thought that Longao could really devour all the energy. He was very clear on what the energy in the lake meant. Even he could only cultivate and not devour it. How did Longao do it? However, in this situation, it wasn't suitable to ask this question. Let him go. Bution, in the past, in order to break through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord, you didn't hesitate to leave me. Now that you have returned, you want to take away my worries. Do you really think that you are invincible after becoming a Starry Sky Realm Lord? Do you think that I am easy to bully? Without giving Bution any chance to speak, Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird continued. Today, the two of you can forget about leaving the God-Beast realm. Scarlet Flame, you should be very clear on what it means to summon that person. Bution had already guessed what the other party wanted to do. His expression suddenly changed. As for Longao, he was in the clouds. Under normal circumstances, with Bution's strength, it would be easy for him to take him away. But now, Bution seemed to be afraid of the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. Humph, you humiliated me in the past, and now you are humiliating me again. Humph, I want to see how you are going to resist that person. Brother Long, leave quickly. It's too late. Longao had already sensed that the surrounding space had been sealed. The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird seemed to be summoning something. Without asking, he had already guessed that within the God-Beast realm, there must be a Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast. But for some reason, this powerful Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast had been sealed. As for the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird, it must have a way to break the seal and release this Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast. But from Bution's words, it seemed that even with his strength, he wasn't a match for this Starry Sky Realm Lord Divine Beast. Leave. Wanna leave? The Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird sneered and directly opened a huge black vortex in midair. Then, a dragon's roar resounded through the heavens and earth, enveloping the entire God-Beast realm. A huge dragon's aura instantly suppressed Longao's body, directly locking him in place. If Longao was alone, he wouldn't be able to break the lock at all. In the end, he would be directly killed. But now, with Bution's help, he quickly broke the lock. No matter what, Bution was still a Starry Sky Realm Lord. His strength was obvious. Bution, since you are here, why don't you stay and reminisce about the past? An old voice resounded. Then, an old man appeared beside the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. Lord. Lord? If you really treated me as a lord, you wouldn't have been sealed for so many years. Scarlet Flame, I will settle this with you later. There wasn't the slightest surprise or worry because the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird had already guessed the result when she released the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. In the past, the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon had been jointly suppressed by several Starry Sky Realm Lords. After so many years of cultivation, her strength was already enough to break the seal, but she didn't do so. Now that she had released the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon, there was no doubt that the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon wouldn't leave the matter at that. However, in order to kill Bution and Longao, the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird seemed to have thrown caution to the wind. She didn't even care about her own life and had the mentality of perishing together with them, because she knew that with her strength, she wasn't Bution's opponent. She could only watch the two of them leave. Chapter 2044. Bution, long time no see. How have you been? Bution didn't continue to leave. He turned around and said with a smile, Annihilation Dragon, you only have yourself to blame for being sealed by us. You can't blame anyone else? Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Laughing crazily, Annihilation Dragon said coldly, you humans are shameless. 5 against 1. If it was 1-on-1, which one of you would be my opponent? Annihilation Dragon didn't say anything. If it wasn't for Bution and the other 4 joining forces, no one would be his opponent. Back then, Annihilation Dragon came out of nowhere and slaughtered everywhere. With no other choice, Bution and the other 4 Universal Sector Lords joined forces to seal him. After so many years, the seal had already begun to loosen. If it was the original seal, it wouldn't have been broken by Vermilion Bird alone. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. You lost back then. You're right. I lost back then, no matter what the reason was. Annihilation Dragon looked at Vermilion Bird beside him and then at the 2 in front of him. Silence. Annihilation Dragon chose to remain silent. The other 3 also chose to remain silent. Taking advantage of the silence, Bution used his spiritual sense to tell Longao what had happened that year. So that's how it was. Back then, Bution and Vermilion Bird fell in love at first sight. Although the 2 had different identities, they still walked together regardless of the world's opinion. They could have lived happily ever after, but because Bution left without saying goodbye, this relationship was completely broken. The reason Bution left was simple. He had a way to become a Universal Sector Lord. Under the temptation of becoming a Universal Sector Lord, Bution even abandoned Vermilion Bird. If it was now, would Bution still do this? He really didn't know. When Bution became a Universal Sector Lord, Annihilation Dragon suddenly had an accident and killed everywhere. In the end, Bution joined forces with the other 4 Universal Sector Lords and forcefully sealed Annihilation Dragon. This was a big problem. Longao knew very well how strong Annihilation Dragon was. At the very least, Bution shouldn't be a match for Annihilation Dragon. Gotcha. There was a loud sound. Annihilation. No. It turned out that Devastator Maddragon had one hand on Vermilion Bird's throat. As long as Devastator Maddragon wanted to, he could easily destroy Vermilion Bird at any time. The powerful Vermilion Bird was now like a helpless little girl. She looked very pitiful. This was what it meant to have only oneself to blame. If it weren't for Big Brother Boo, Longao would have been more than happy to see the world-annihilating Maddragon kill the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird. But now, no matter what, Big Brother Boo seemed to like the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird a lot. Thus, Longao decided to take the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird away no matter what. Bution, are you scared? There's no need to drag Vermilion Bird into the grudge between us men. Looks like you still can't let go of this bitch, but I'll give you a chance. As long as you can defeat me, I'll let all of you leave. Otherwise, all of you will die here. All right. Throwing the Scarlet Vermilion Bird out, the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon made the first move. In the blink of an eye, the 2 Starry Sky Realm Lords were engaged in a fierce battle. Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird, why are you doing this? Longao knew very well why the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird suddenly summoned the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. Women were like this. The more they loved someone, the deeper their hatred. Otherwise, the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird wouldn't have done this. Whether it was right or wrong, it was hard to say. Longao, you should leave. After experiencing a moment of life and death, the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird seemed to have changed into a different person. She was filled with despair and despair. Could he really leave? Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird, since you like Big Brother Boo, you should leave with him. The 2 of you missed each other in the past. Do you want to miss each other again? Can we still be together? What a joke. Back then, he left so decisively. Do you think I would still believe him? Humans are not plants. How can they be emotionless? How can they not make mistakes? Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird, I can say with certainty that Big Brother Boo has never let go of you. When the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon appeared, Big Brother Boo and I had the chance to leave. Do you know why Big Brother Boo decided to stay? Me. The Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird didn't believe it. Since Bution had chosen to leave that year, he would do the same today. However, as a territory ancestor, the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird soon found that something was wrong. With Bution's competence, even if he wasn't the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon's opponent, it was just a matter of minutes for him to take the other away. Could it be that Bution didn't leave because of him? Don't you understand Big Brother Boo's feelings? Just as Longao finished talking, Bution was defeated by the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. If it weren't for his high cultivation base, he would have been killed by the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. What should they do? Longao had no way of interfering in the battle between Starry Sky Realm Lords. The difference in cultivation level was too great. It was simply an insurmountable chasm. Longao was very clear that as long as he stepped into the range of the battle, he wouldn't even have to wait for him to make a move. Big Brother Bution couldn't resist anymore. If this continued, Big Brother Bution would be killed by the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. Just as Longao was about to take action, the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird's primordial spirit suddenly burst out an earth-shattering power. The primordial spirit exploded. Longao was completely stunned. He had never thought that the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird would choose to explode her primordial spirit. However, the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird's cultivation base had reached the peak of Territory Ancestor Realm. She was only one step away from becoming the Territory Lord of the Starry Sky. Once such a person chose to explode herself, not to mention the Territory Ancestors of the Starry Sky, even the Territory Lords of the Starry Sky wouldn't dare to confront her directly. Scarlet Flames, you. Bution didn't say anything. His eyes were red. He knew why the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird had done this. He had missed it once. Was he going to miss it again? Brother Long, let's go. Before Longao could react, he was pushed away by a terrifying force. In just a blink of an eye, they were already 1,000 meters away. Longao was confident that even if the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon disturbed the space around, he could enter the Dragon Seal space at any time. Big Brother Boo, Longao kept his calm. Not only the Scarlet Flame's Vermilion Bird, but Bution had also started to explode his primordial spirit. A Territory Lord of the Starry Sky and a peak of Territory Ancestor Realm. Even the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon didn't dare to confront them directly. This kind of explosion could kill him. Right when the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon was about to run away, the two of them had used the power of exploding their primordial spirits to trap the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon. Chapter 2045. Scarlet Flame. I'm sorry. Sorry, your sister. Do you regret it? I already missed a chance. I won't miss it again. They didn't continue because Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird and Bution already knew that while they chose to forgive each other, they also chose to die together. Whether it was Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird or Bution, they both knew that even if they joined forces, they wouldn't be a match for the world-destroying Mad Dragon. Rather than being killed by the world-destroying Mad Dragon, they would rather die together and die together with the world-destroying Mad Dragon. There was another reason. Bution chose to self-destruct to create an opportunity for Longao because if he didn't do so, all three of them would die here. Boom, boom. The self-destruction of the primordial spirits had already begun. Although Longao was unwilling, things had already come to this, and there was only one path left. Longao turned around and left. With the help of spatial teleportation, he left the God-Beast plane at the fastest speed. A Starry Sky Realm Lord and a peak Starry Sky Realm Ancestor, the self-destruction of their primordial spirits completely destroyed the entire God-Beast realm. If other people knew that another realm was destroyed because of Longao, who knew what they would do? However, no one would know what happened today. Seeing the God-Beast realm disappear in an instant, Longao was a little moved. If he had known, he wouldn't have come no matter what. Big Brother Boo had sacrificed himself for nothing. The only gratifying thing was that Big Brother Boo and Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird had forgiven each other. Although they couldn't live together, they could die together. Kid, I'm going to kill you. Just as Longao was about to turn and leave, a dragon's roar resounded. Then, 100-meter-long black dragon appeared. It was the world-destroying Mad Dragon. Not dead? The world-destroying Mad Dragon really wasn't dead? Longao was a little dumbfounded because he never thought that Bution and Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird's self-destruction of their primordial spirits wouldn't succeed in killing the world-destroying Mad Dragon. It was really unbelievable. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. The world-destroying Mad Dragon had to use a killing move to barely escape. Even so, the destructive power of Bution and Vermilion Bird's self-destruction was too terrifying. Even the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon was seriously injured. Longao, who was preparing to enter the Dragon Seal space, suddenly sensed the chaotic aura of the world-destroying Mad-Dragon and understood what had happened. The world-destroying Mad-Dragon was seriously injured. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I want to avenge Big Brother Boo, go all out. If it had been the world-destroying Mad-Dragon at its peak, Longao would not have dared to casually attack it. But now, the situation was completely different. With the Samsara sword in hand, Longao did not retreat. Instead, he shot toward the destructive Mad-Dragon. You are courting death. The World Annihilation Berserk Dragon was enraged. Being ignored by the other party was simply a great humiliation. Spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood, the apocalyptic Berserk Dragon's injuries were severe to the extreme. However, it was still unwilling to give up on killing Longao. Transforming into a human was because the consumption of energy for the main body was too great. With the current situation of the World Annihilation Mad-Dragon, it could not bear it at all. In the blink of an eye, the two had already engaged in a fierce battle. The Starry Sky Realm Lord was indeed the Starry Sky Realm Lord. Even if the world-destroying Mad-Dragon was seriously injured, it would not be an easy task for Longao to kill it. With no other choice, Longao could only use the Starry Sky Soul Slave army. All the remaining Starry Sky Soul Slaves swarmed out, like moths to a flame, madly attacking the world-destroying Mad-Dragon. Even if the world-destroying Mad-Dragon was powerful, it could not kill the Starry Sky Soul Slaves in one move. Tens of thousands of Starry Sky Soul Slaves madly attacked. If the world-destroying Mad-Dragon was at its peak, of course, it would not be afraid of tens of thousands of Starry Sky Soul Slaves. But now, the situation was completely different. Under the continuous attacks, the world-destroying Mad-Dragon's injuries became more and more serious. Longao had decided that after killing the world-destroying Mad-Dragon, he must refine it into a corpse slave. At that time, the Universe Realm Lord would join forces with the world-destroying Mad-Dragon. With one man and one dragon working together, who could be his opponent? Longao stood aside and watched. The world-destroying Mad-Dragon's strength was too strong. Many Starry Sky cultivators gradually appeared in the surroundings. If his whereabouts or this matter was discovered, the consequences would be very serious. Even if he could kill the world-destroying Mad-Dragon, he was afraid that trouble would continue to come, wave after wave. At that time, he would be dead for sure. Thousands of Starry Sky Soul Slaves began to seal off the surroundings. No matter who it was, no one was allowed to step in. Those who barged in would be killed without mercy. In fact, Longao thought too much. Many people could sense the aura of the world-destroying Mad-Dragon. Without a doubt, many people were very afraid of the battle between the Starry Sky Realm Lords. Unless there was water in their heads, or people who wanted to see what was going on, no one dared to step in. What if the fish in the moat were implicated? No one was willing to die, let alone in such a way. Longao personally went into battle. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. The best way was to kill the world-destroying Mad-Dragon as quickly as possible. The world-destroying Mad-Dragon's injuries were getting more and more serious. In the end, it spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell down. The opportunity had come. Longao strode to the side of the world-destroying Mad-Dragon. Surrounded by Starry Sky Soul Slaves, no one could see what was going on. Kid, even if I die, I will drag you down with me. With just you? Of course, Longao wouldn't let the world-destroying Mad-Dragon self-destruct. He had already locked onto the other party and punched. The world-destroying Mad-Dragon died. In the end, the world-destroying Mad-Dragon was too arrogant. Originally, it was already seriously injured, and hiding to recuperate was the best choice to take revenge in the future. However, the world-destroying Mad-Dragon appeared at this time. As soon as the world-destroying Mad-Dragon died, Longao sent its body and primordial spirit into the Dragon Seal space. However, Long Fu had to refine 2 Starry Sky Corpse slaves at the same time. He believed that it would take more time. Retreat. Longao didn't stay any longer and disappeared with the many Starry Sky Soul Slaves. Everyone in the surroundings was still in shock and didn't know what had happened. A battle between Starry Sky Realm Masters was a rare event that happened once in 10,000 years. However, no one saw it. Some unknown starry sky cultivators had stopped them, and some of them had almost died. Unknowingly, news of what had happened spread. However, no one knew who had done it, so it was quickly forgotten. After everyone left, Longao let out a long sigh of relief. He could kill the world-destroying Mad Dragon only because Big Brother Boo and the Scarlet Flame Vermilion Bird self-destructed their primordial spirits. If the two of them had self-destructed their primordial spirits, not to mention killing the world-destroying Mad Dragon, he didn't even know if he could leave the God-Beast plane alive. After leaving this place, Longao quickly headed towards the southeast and soon disappeared into the vast starry sky. Chapter 2046. Brother Long, it must have been you who caused the previous incident, right? Longao didn't hide much from Ijime. She nodded and said, in order to save me, Big Brother Boo has already self-destructed his primordial spirit. He sighed deeply. Ijime helplessly said, Brother Long, you don't need to be sad. Although Master Bution did it to save you, according to my guess, Master Bution did it to atone for his sins. This matter is over. Longao entered the Dragon Seal space after exchanging a few simple words with Ichabod Plum. Long Fu, how long will it take to refine 2 Astral Sector Lord Corpse slaves? Longao was very clear in his heart that just refining the corpse of the Universe Realm Master would take an unknown amount of time. Now that the world-destroying Mad Dragon was added, he believed that the time needed would at least double. Master, it's almost impossible to refine both the Chinquan Realm Lord and the World Annihilation Berserk Dragon at the same time. Longao had already guessed it. However, Master, if the refinement is successful, 1 human and 1 dragon corpse slave will work together. Among the Starry Sky Realm Lords, no one will be a match for them. Thinking of this, Longao was pleasantly surprised. If he could successfully refine them, he would be able to run amok in the vast starry sky with the help of the 2 Starry Sky corpse slaves. Longao did not conceal the news of Bution's death. However, he didn't appear personally. Instead, he spread the news in secret. The news of Bution and the World Annihilation Mad Dragon destroying each other instantly spread throughout the entire realm. Those who received the news were all shocked, because many people were very clear on what the World Annihilation Mad Dragon meant. Hong Chi, Jiang Chong, Elder Black, and Elder White were extremely depressed. Sir Bution's death made them unable to answer to the Empire. What should he do about this? Left with no choice, the 4 of them could only wait and see what the Heaven-Devouring Empire would do next. It took less than 3 days. The Heaven-Devouring Empire had already sent a space sector lord over. His reputation and strength were far above Bution. It was none other than the legendary Jin Shang. Flourishing Realm Lord, flourishing Golden Realm Lord, swept through the realms and eventually submitted to the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Jin Shang's and Bution's situations were very different. Bution was only a consecrator in the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Strictly speaking, he wasn't considered a member of the Heaven-Devouring Empire. As for Jin Shang, he was from the Heaven-Devouring Empire and wasn't a consecrator. Jin Shang's arrival shook the entire world. Longao also received the news, and his expression was quite serious because Jin Shang would not be courteous at all. Things turned out as expected. As soon as Realm Lord Jin Shang descended, he immediately started searching for Longao's traces. The falling cloud plane was a mid-level plane. Longao's body descended, causing everyone to be shocked. Was Longao really not afraid of death? Jin Shang was a middle-aged man with a face full of beard. He looked extremely sloppy, and Jin Shang was a famous wine cabinet. He never left his wine bottle. Are you Longao? That's right. Are you Jin Shang? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. All of a sudden, Jin Shang burst out laughing maniacally. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have found it hard to believe that a mere starry sky ruler could go against the heaven and earth sect. Even Brother Boo had died here. No one would link Bution's death to Longao. Longao chuckled without replying. In order to prevent Longao from entering the starry sky legendary weapon, Old Master Qian Kuan and the others made use of the weapon to disrupt the vibrations in the surrounding space. This way, even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would never be able to leave this place. There was no way he could escape, but Longao was nonchalant. Jin Sheng, you shouldn't have come. Why? Jin Sheng asked curiously. He seemed to be quite interested in Longao. He could not understand how a mere level 8 Longao could destroy the heaven and earth realm. Could it be that Longao had some sort of backing? Jin Sheng, do you think you can make it back this time? Instantly, everyone understood what Longao meant. He was practically throwing his life away. Jin Sheng was the Starry Sky world ruler after all. Even Butian back then might not have been a match for Jin Sheng, let alone a mere Starry Sky ruler. Shameless boasting. Jin Sheng did not strike out. Instead, he asked with interest, Longao, how about we make a bet? Let's see if you or I will die. How about that? All right. Longao took a step forward, and his entire person disappeared without a trace. Looking at the situation, other than Jin Sheng, the other 6 territory ancestors and Feng Xia were dumbfounded. How in the world did Longao do that? Based on their guesses, as long as they could disrupt the vibrations in the surrounding space, Longao would not be able to enter the space legendary weapon. But what was the result? What in the world was going on? That's not Longao's real body. I didn't expect that Longao has a clone. Seems like this man isn't simple. Suddenly, everyone understood why Longao wasn't disturbed by the space and could enter the space legendary weapon smoothly. It turned out that it wasn't Longao's real body but his clone. It seemed like Longao was very careful. My lord, what should we do? Jin Sheng thought for a while and said coldly, the 3rd prince has been refined into a puppet. His Majesty is furious. If we can't deal with Longao, not only me, but all of you will die. Especially Ancestor Heaven and Earth and Situ He. The 6 of them sighed deeply because they had guessed the result. The 3rd prince had been refined into a puppet by Longao. It would be strange if the Empire wasn't enraged. If it were someone else, Jin Sheng didn't need to come here personally. Any one of the people here could deal with him easily. However, Longao was an anomaly. Even the 6 territory ancestors couldn't deal with him. In the end, they needed Realm Lord Jin Sheng to come here personally. Regardless of whether they could kill Longao or not, the Empire and Jin Sheng had lost their faces. However, as it had come to this, they could only hope that they could kill Longao smoothly. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a matter of face but their lives. You don't have confidence? Looking at their faces, Jin Sheng felt a headache. 6 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky and Feng Xia couldn't deal with Longao. If people knew about this, would they believe it? Master Jin Sheng, don't underestimate Longao. He has a lot of secrets. Jin Sheng didn't put Longao in his eyes at all. It was just a joke. If he was afraid of a small Starry Sky domain lord, he might as well choose to commit suicide. With a cold snort, Jin Sheng said with dissatisfaction, don't underestimate others. Longao is just lucky. I want to see how great he is. Chapter 2047. The matter of Longao destroying the universe plane was not over yet. Not only that, many people formed their own crusade alliance and prepared to crusade against Longao. Destroying the plane, everyone had the right to kill him. Sky Marshal Plane. Ever since Longao left, the entire Sky Marshal continent had undergone earth-shattering changes. The original 10 Directions tripod, only Heaven and Earth Sect and Dragon Sect were left, but the 2 superpowers had chosen to retreat. After the battles, a new 10 Directions tripod appeared, but no one in the 9 continents dared to touch it. The reason was simple. As long as one was from the Sky Marshal continent, they all knew what the 9 continents continent meant. This was the hometown of the Master Longao, who created Dragon Sect. Whoever dared to be impudent here was not giving face to Dragon Sect. In the current Sky Marshal continent, other than Divine Mathematician and Heaven and Earth Sect, no one dared to provoke Dragon Sect. Massacre Abyss. Yu Yin, Ao Shue, and Murong Yenner sat together quietly, thinking about Longao. As for Ao Shue's stomach, there was still no movement, and no one knew when the child would be born. But according to Xiling, the longer the child was in the stomach, the better it was for the child, because the child had already started to cultivate in the stomach, and according to his calculations, the child's cultivation had already broken through to the divine realm. What kind of concept was that? Sister Aoshue, you must take care of your body. Even if you don't think for yourself, you must think for me. Ever since Longao left, Aoshue's body became worse and worse. Yuin was very clear that Aoshue missed Longao, but what could she do? She had already tried before, but she was unable to break the seal and leave. Now, she could only wait for Longao to return. Forcing a smile, Aoshue nodded and said, "Sister, don't worry, I will take good care of myself." Yin thought for a moment and said, "Sisters, why don't the three of us go find Divine Mathematician and ask him to break the seal, and we leave Sky Marshal Plain to find Brother Long? What do you think?" "Good idea." "No." Yu Yin's expression instantly turned cold, scaring Aoshue and Yin into sticking out their tongues. The two girls were usually very afraid of Yuin. No matter what, Brother Long loved Yuin the most, and he also knew what Yuin had done for Brother Long. How many people could do it? The two women admired Yuin very much and respected Yuin very much. When Big Brother Long left, he told us again and again not to leave the plane casually. Didn't you hear him? I heard you. Yuin knew very well how dangerous the vast starry sky outside was. Perhaps cultivators in the starry sky were the strongest existences on the martial heaven continent, but in the vast starry sky, they were nothing. He believed that even starry sky region kings, starry sky region emperors, and even starry sky territory ancestors could be found everywhere. What if the three of them left the plane and encountered some danger in the vast starry sky? What should they do then? Don't mention this again. Yin and Aoshue nodded. The current dragon sect had more than 10 starry sky territory ancestors. Unless the godly mathematician took action, 5 of them could threaten the safety of dragon sect. With dragon sect's current strength, they were the strongest plane even in the vast starry sky, let alone the martial heaven continent. Outer Sea, within the Crystal Palace. Father, ever since Longao stepped into the starry sky, he hasn't been idle. First, he went against the Qinkuan sect, then he killed the third prince, Shen Feng. Not only that, even Jin Shang seemed to have taken action. Nodding, the godly mathematician already knew about this. Longao's variables are too great. Even I am unable to calculate this child's fate. Yigudu was shocked. He rarely saw his father evaluate someone in such a manner. Father, what if we didn't help Longao? Yigudu knew what the heaven-devouring empire meant. Not to mention Longao, even the other starry sky empire wouldn't dare to offend the heaven-devouring empire. Yigudu was depressed. Longao was too arrogant. He had just stepped into the starry sky and offended the heaven-devouring empire. He even killed the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire. Now that Realm Lord Jinshang was here, even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to stop Realm Lord Jinshang. The godly mathematician shook his head and said, I've already made an agreement with that person. From now on, I won't interfere in Longao's matters. Otherwise, it won't be good if it causes displeasure between us. Father, after so many years, you still haven't found him. Could there be an accident? At this point, Master God Diviner's expression flickered grimly. Everyone's been looking for him for years, but no one's found him. Something must have happened. I just hope it's not what I think it is. Otherwise, I'll be in big trouble. Yi Gudu understood his father's worries. Gudu, your cultivation base has recovered. It's easy for you to break through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm. Now, you should enter the Starry Sky Secret Territory. I believe you can break through to the Starry Sky Territory Lord Realm in less than a year. He was overjoyed. Yi Gudu knew how big the gap between the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm and the Starry Sky Territory Lord Realm was. After waiting for more than 10,000 years, Yi Gudu couldn't wait anymore. However, he still asked, Father, what about Long Batian and Tian Dao? Yi Gudu knew that his father wouldn't give the inheritance to the two of them. Strictly speaking, both Tian Dao and Long Batian were his father's dogs. The two of them are still useful. In the future, they will be your protectors. It will be difficult for you to do anything with just your strength. Whether it is Long Batian or Tian Dao, I will seal their bloodlines later. With their bloodlines sealed, they could die whenever Yi Gudu wanted them to. Everything was under the oracle's control. The pitiful thing was that Tian Dao and Long Batian were still in the dark. They were still trying to obtain opportunities in the Starry Sky secret realm. If the two of them knew about this, no one knew what they would think. It didn't matter if they could come out alive or not. From now on, their lives didn't belong to them anymore. They belonged to Yi Gudu. Hearing his father, Yi Gudu smiled. Just like what his father had said, his strength alone was too weak. If he could have the help of the two dogs, everything would be different. Father, are you going to let Yi Gudu and Tian Dao break through to the Starry Sky Territory Lord realm? As long as he could seal their bloodlines, then no matter what level their strength rose to, it would not affect him in the slightest. In Yi Dugu's view, of course, he hoped that the stronger the two of them were, the more help they would be to him. 1 year later, they will follow you to the Starry Sky Territory Lord realm. At that time, you can take them to the vast Starry Sky to train. With a face full of disgust, Longao said with disgust, I am a person who always takes revenge. Since you want to kill me, I will give you a chance. Remember, you only have one chance. The more Lin Ju acted like this, the more uncertain everyone was. Thinking that Lin Ju wasn't even afraid of the Starry Sky Boundary Lord, everyone started to retreat. Fame and benefits were tempting, but compared to their lives, it wasn't enough. Everyone started to retreat. You don't dare? You hypocritically formed the so-called Crusade Alliance, but it turns out to be a bunch of mobs. Living in the vast starry sky is simply a waste of air. Why don't I send you into the cycle of reincarnation? I hope you can be a good person in your next life. Don't waste your life like now. Contempt. It was a blatant disdain. Brothers, it's either he dies or we die. Kill. Everyone knew that this battle was unavoidable. If Longao was really strong, they wouldn't be able to escape even if they wanted to. In that case, everyone rushed towards Longao. But in the next second, before Longao could move, more than 8,000 Starry Sky soul slaves appeared and surrounded the thousands of people. In order to kill the world-destroying Berserk Dragon, they had lost more than 2,000 Starry Sky soul slaves. But to Longao, it was totally worth it. A world-destroying Berserk Dragon's corpse slave was enough to wipe out all the Starry Sky Boundary Lords. Together with the Universe Boundary Lord's corpse slave, they were almost invincible. 1 against 8, the thousands of people were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Longao isolated Yi Qian and said with a smile, Yi Qian, you formed this alliance to kill me and claim credit from the heaven-devouring empire. Now, I will give you a chance. As long as you defeat me, you can bring my corpse back to the heaven-devouring empire. How about it? Yi Qian was very worried. Even though he was a Starry Sky Domain Emperor and his opponent was only a Starry Sky Domain Lord, there were too many legends about Longao. If Longao was really as powerful as the legends said, wouldn't he be doomed? Thinking of this, Yi Qian suddenly laughed and said, Longao, there is no enmity between you and me, so why do we have to fight to the death? As long as you are willing to be magnanimous this time, then I can guarantee that the Crusade Alliance will immediately disband, and from then on, I will no longer be your enemy. How about it? The Subjugation Alliance was just a bluff. They just wanted to show off their strength and see if they could kill Longao and get benefits from it. When they really met Longao, everyone, including Yi Qian, felt a little regretful. They could have provoked anyone, but they had to provoke Longao. A murderous god like him dared to destroy a plane, let alone them. Before Longao could reply, there were already screams coming from the side. Yi Qian was very clear in his heart that every scream meant that one of his people had fallen. In just a few seconds, more than 20 people had already fallen. What kind of concept was this? At this rate, it wouldn't take more than 10 minutes for the alliance to be annihilated. At that time, he would have no chance to fight alone. Longao, of course, could guess what Yi Qian was thinking. He smiled and said, Yi Qian, don't worry. I am a fair person. I will give you a chance now. As long as you can defeat me, you can leave. If you can't, I'm sorry, but you will have to report to King Yama." As he spoke, Longao used his finger as a sword and slashed out 2 strands of reincarnation sword chi. Since his cultivation had broken through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord Realm, Longao could continuously use Shatter the Starry Sky and fuse it with reincarnation sword chi. Yi Qian, of course, had heard that Longao could shatter the sky. He was shocked and hurriedly dodged. Even so, the surrounding space began to shatter and cracks appeared in the sky, devouring Yi Qian crazily. Longao didn't have the confidence to defeat the Starry Sky Domain Lord, but he was confident in fighting the Starry Sky Domain Emperor, because the Starry Sky Domain Emperor only condensed the power of the Starry Sky Domain into the forbidden power of the Starry Sky Domain. Chapter 2049. Shattering the Starry Sky. Longao didn't give Yi Qian any chance to catch his breath as he continued to attack. Reincarnation Sword Chi shot out like lightning. It was the Reincarnation Lightning Strike. 36 Reincarnation Styles. The first style, Reincarnation 9 Slashes. The second style, Reincarnation Chaotic Dance. The third style, Reincarnation Mad Dance. The fourth style, Reincarnation Rainbow. The fifth style, Reincarnation Meteor Explosion. The sixth style, Reincarnation Rain Strike. The seventh style, Reincarnation Point, and the eighth style, Reincarnation Lightning Strike. With the breakthrough in his cultivation, Longao could now release the ninth style. The ninth style, Reincarnation Imprisonment. Longao had never used the Reincarnation Imprisonment before. He could use this opportunity to try it out. With the help of the Reincarnation Lightning Strike and Reincarnation Imprisonment, he could kill cultivators of the same level or lower in a matter of minutes. However, it was unknown if he could kill enemies of a higher level. Reincarnation Imprisonment. Using his finger as a sword, the Reincarnation Sword Chi shot out. Just as Yi Qian was about to leave, a shocking scene occurred. The surrounding space began to be imprisoned. This imprisonment was different from the space imprisonment. Strictly speaking, the Reincarnation Imprisonment was superior to the space imprisonment and the domain imprisonment. Or else, how could the Reincarnation Imprisonment kill enemies of a higher level? Unable to move, Yi Qian's expression changed again and again as he roared in horror. Longao, there is no enmity between us. There is no need to make things like this. As long as you are willing to let me go, I am willing to go far away and never go against you again. How about it? He was completely terrified. Although Yi Qian had guessed that even if his cultivation was superior to Longao's, it wouldn't be easy for Longao to kill him. After all, the other party was only a Starry Sky Domain Lord, a realm lower than him. However, Yi Qian had never expected that although Longao's cultivation was only a Starry Sky Domain Lord, his true strength could kill him instantly. It was simply unbelievable. He kept retreating but couldn't take a step back. Would Longao let Yi Qian go? Reincarnation Imprisonment, imprisoning Yi Qian's body. Longao sneered and directly used the Reincarnation Lightning Strike and released the Starry Sky Shattering. Longao, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Longao ignored him. Just like that, over 1,000 people, including Yi Qian, were all killed by Longao in less than 3 minutes. Longao did not hide this matter. When the news spread, it shook the entire world. Although many people knew that this so-called Crusade Alliance was not very powerful, it always represented justice. No matter how arrogant Longao was, he would never dare to go against the Crusade Alliance. And the result? Longao still resolutely killed over 1,000 people, not leaving a single one alive. With this deterrence, it would be difficult for anyone to form an alliance. Everyone knew that the heaven-devouring empire would not let Longao off for the sake of the third prince. There was no need for them to risk their lives. Since Realm Lord Jinsheng had already descended, he would naturally deal with Longao. Everyone only dared to curse. It was almost impossible for them to continue to form a crusade alliance. In front of his life, everything else was nonsense. Longao had already guessed this result, and it was exactly what he needed. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. This time, Longao did not choose to fight Jin Sheng head-on because Jin Sheng's strength was obvious. Together with the 6 Starry Sky Territory ancestors and Feng Xia, it would not benefit him at all. There were advances and retreats. Longao thought of all sorts of ways to deal with everyone. The best way and the only way was to refine 2 Starry Sky Corps slaves. Even if there was only 1 Starry Sky Corps slave, it could be used to deal with Jin Sheng and the others. Falling Cloud World. After 7 days, they still could not find Longao's trace. Jin Sheng and the others were extremely depressed because Jin Sheng did not expect Longao's hiding skill to be so high. No wonder Butian and the others could not find Longao. Of course, Jin Sheng was not afraid of facing Longao head-on. He could not wait for Longao to take action. However, he was afraid that Longao would hide and play hide-and-seek with him. In that case, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack, not to mention a world. The longer the delay, the greater the pressure on Jin Sheng. The third Prince Chen Feng had already been refined into a puppet, which was equivalent to being dead. His Majesty was furious, and Butian, who had been sent out before, had also fallen, which made him even angrier. If he was still unable to kill Longao, not to mention the Empire's blame, he himself would have no face left. He was very depressed. The 6 of them still found nothing. Ancestor Heaven and Earth said helplessly, Longao's hiding skill is really top-notch. We have mobilized all the forces in the world, but we still can't find him. It's not a good idea to continue like this. The 6 of them were also very depressed. As time went by, the people outside began to question. No matter what, Longao was just a Starry Sky Territory master, but he could do whatever he wanted. If this matter was spread to the Empire, it would not benefit anyone. He waved his hand to stop them from continuing. Jin Sheng thought for a while and asked, "You still can't find out Longao's identity?" In the current situation, other than not being able to find out Longao's whereabouts, they couldn't even find out his identity. It was unbelievable. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. The 6 of them shook their heads. Elder He said helplessly, "Sir, according to our guess, Longao might not be from this world. We have already investigated his identity, but we still couldn't find anything. It's as though he appeared out of thin air." Appeared out of thin air? Jin Sheng lowered his head and fell into deep thought. The 6 of you, continue to investigate. This person is not simple. There's no way he doesn't have a background. He must be hiding his identity on purpose. Pass down his information and portrait. I don't believe that he jumped out of a rock. Yes, sir. The 6 of them didn't hesitate. They immediately turned around and continued to investigate Longao's identity. However, the world was too big. Just the heaven-devouring empire alone had tens of thousands of worlds. With so many worlds, trying to find out the identity of someone who deliberately hid his identity was like picking a stone from an egg. Was it possible? Moreover, no one could be sure that Longao didn't belong to the heaven-devouring empire. If he came from another empire, would they be able to find out his identity? Xia, I heard that you have a Starry Sky Territory Master's primordial spirit. I wonder if it's true. Feng Xia's heart skipped a beat. She knew that once the news of her possessing a Starry Sky Territory Master's primordial spirit spread out, trouble would come for her. The first to act would be Jin Sheng. After all, the primordial spirit of a Starry Sky Territory Master was too tempting. Even a Starry Sky Territory Master couldn't resist it. Chapter 2050. Could she say no? Since Jin Sheng asked, she believed that he already knew. If she said no, wouldn't she be digging her own grave? Feng Xia knew clearly that even if her teacher was strong, he wouldn't be Jin Sheng's opponent. No matter what, her teacher was just a remnant of primordial spirit. Before Feng Xia could say anything, Ning Wu's primordial spirit appeared. "You're Ning Wu? Jin Sheng, long time no see. How are you?" Jin Sheng was astounded because he had never thought that Feng Xia's remnant primordial spirit was the legendary Ning Wu. He was a little happy. Ning Wu's power was undeniable. If he could swallow Ning Wu's primordial spirit, it would be a great help to his cultivation. Ning Wu seemed to know what Jin Sheng was thinking. "You want to swallow me?" Jin Sheng didn't say anything. However, silence meant that he admitted it. Ningwuk smiled and said, Jin Sheng, why don't you try? If Ningwuk hadn't said that, Jin Sheng would have tried. However, the calmer Ningwuk was, the more Jin Sheng didn't dare to do so. After all, the opponent's real power was there. No one knew what Ningwuk had. What if he went for wool and came back shorn? He forced a smile. Master Ning, you're joking. I didn't know it was you. Otherwise, why would I ask about it? Shameless. Feng Xia scolded him in her mind. After all, Jin Sheng was afraid of her teacher's power. Otherwise, why would he be so humble? Why would he give up so easily? However, Feng Xia understood her teacher's situation. Once she took action, she could only run away. Her teacher wasn't Jin Sheng's opponent at all. She had intimidated Jin Sheng. Don't tell anyone about me. Ningwuk didn't want to say more. He disappeared instantly. Jin Sheng didn't know what to do. He didn't dare to take the risk, but he didn't dare to give up either. In the end, Jin Sheng decided to give up for now. He would see the situation first. Before he was sure, he wouldn't take action. Once something unexpected happened, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. The 6 territory ancestors of the starry sky had searched everywhere for Longao's identity. In the end, their efforts were in vain. Could it be that Longao really popped out from a crack in a rock? Jin Sheng had fallen. No one knew who spread the news, but the news of Jin Sheng's death spread like wildfire. For some reason, no one doubted him. The emissaries of ghosts and gods almost believed him. Everyone was shocked. Not only that, the person who killed Jin Sheng was none other than Longao. Was this true? Everyone was in disbelief because Jin Sheng's strength was there for all to see. Not to mention a Longao. Even if the Starry Sky Realm Lord personally came, he wouldn't be Jin Sheng's opponent. How did Longao do it? Although Butian wasn't killed by Longao, it was for Longao. If it wasn't for him, Butian wouldn't be in trouble. If Jin Sheng was included, wouldn't 2 Universal Realm Lords have died for Longao? Shock. Unbelievable. Everyone wanted to know Longao's identity and background. However, what disappointed them was that Longao's identity was like a mystery that no one knew. The news of Jin Sheng's death came from Longao. When the 6 territory ancestors of the starry sky heard the news, they were frightened and immediately returned to Falling Cloud Plain. On the way back, Forefather Heaven and Earth was stopped by Longao. Longao, you're finally willing to show up. Longao sneered and said, Forefather Heaven and Earth, even if I show up, what can you do to me? What a joke. I'm here this time to make a deal with you. A deal? Forefather Heaven and Earth was curious. He didn't know what kind of deal Longao wanted to make with him. No matter what, the grudge between them was there. What was there to make a deal with? Forefather Heaven and Earth, I wonder if you're interested in the corpse of the Universe Realm Lord? In an instant, Ancestor Chinkuan understood what the other party wanted. His face changed and he said angrily, Longao, as long as you hand over the bones and Chinkuan bag of our ancestor, the grudge between us will be written off. Our sect will also go to other realms, and we will no longer be enemies with you. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth had already recognized the truth. Even if Longao had the Chaos Stone Tablet, it was not something that he could snatch away. As for revealing this matter, no one would believe it. After all, the Chaos Stone Tablet had disappeared for countless of years. No matter who it was, no one had ever found it, let alone obtained it. Since he couldn't get the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and kill Longao, he might as well take the opportunity to get the old ancestor's bones and Chinkuan back. That way, he could give the sect an explanation. Otherwise, he really didn't know how to explain to the ancestors that the Chinkuan sect was destroyed in his hands. However, Longao smiled and said, You want to take back the Universe Realm Master's corpse and Universe Bag just like that? Isn't it a little too simple? What do you want? Forefather Heaven and Earth knew that things weren't that simple. If Longao handed over the corpse and the Universe Bag so easily, it would be strange. It seemed like Longao came prepared. Would he ask him to kill Jin Sheng? As if he could guess what Forefather Heaven and Earth was thinking, Longao smiled and said, Don't worry, I won't let you kill Jin Sheng. Even if I wanted to, you don't have the strength to do so. Jin Sheng was the real Starry Sky territory master. With Forefather Heaven and Earth's competence, it was impossible for him to defeat Jin Sheng. Not to mention him alone. Even if the 6 territory ancestors joined hands, they couldn't defeat Jin Sheng. This was the difference between a territory ancestor and a Starry Sky territory master. Then what do you want? As long as he didn't want to kill Jin Sheng, everything else was easy. My condition is simple. As long as you help me kill the other 5 territory ancestors, including your good brother, Situ He, I promise you that I will return the Universe Realm Master's corpse and his universe bag to you. Otherwise, as Longao spoke till here, he did not continue speaking. However, the meaning behind his words was very clear. As long as Ancestor Chinkuans did not agree, he would destroy the corpse and the Chinkuan bag of the Universe Realm Lord. How could Ancestor Chinkuan not know about Longao's threat? How could he agree to this matter? Let's not talk about whether he could really kill the 5 people. Situ He was his good friend for many years. In order to help him, Situ He had been involved in this matter. If he attacked Situ He, was he still a human? However, if he didn't help, what if Longao destroyed the corpse and the universe bag? Chapter 2051. Longao, don't push me too far. Push me too far? Longao laughed. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth, I don't need to say more about the grudge between us. I believe you know it better than me. Please tell me, without any conditions, why should I give you the corpse of the Universe Realm Lord and his Chinkuan bag? What Longao said was the truth. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth did not say anything. If it was him, he would not hand it over so easily. On one hand, it was the corpse of the old ancestor and his Chinkuan bag. On the other hand, it was his brother. How should he choose? He gritted his teeth. Everyone was selfish. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth was no exception. After thinking about it, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth decided to sacrifice his brother in exchange for the corpse and Chinkuan bag. I promise you, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth, I'll wait for your good news. Remember, the first person to deal with is Situ He. Looking at the disappearing figure, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth's face changed again. The next day, when the 6 of them found out that Jin Sheng was not dead, they knew it was a lie. They did not continue to stay. Instead, they chose to continue searching for Longao's identity and traces. Brother Situ, I have something to tell you. He was curious. However, as a good brother for many years, Situ He did not have the slightest bit of vigilance. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe that this old brother of his would attack him for the corpse and Chinkuan bag. They came to a place. Old brother, what's going on? Pucci. Before Situ He could react, Ancestor Heaven and Earth's hands had already pierced into Situ He's body. With Ancestor Heaven and Earth's strength, Situ He had almost no strength to resist this sudden attack. However, Situ He did not resist. Heaven and Earth, what are you doing? Unbelievable. Situ He widened his eyes and stared at his old brother in disbelief. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not have thought that old Ancestor Heaven and Earth would attack him. I'm sorry. What's going on? Situ He knew clearly that old Ancestor Heaven and Earth would not attack him for no reason. What's going on? Situ He, you've been looking for me. You can take a rest. Seeing Longao suddenly appear, Situ He immediately understood what was going on. So it's for the Chinkuan Realm Lord's corpse and his Chinkuan pouch. Although Situ He already understood, he wasn't angry at all. He smiled miserably. Old brother, you're on your own now. Just like that, Situ He was killed by old Ancestor Heaven and Earth without any warning. Longao, you can make the blood oath now. Longao nodded. According to their agreement, as long as Ancestor Chinkuan was the first to kill Situ He would have to make a blood oath. After all, Ancestor Chinkuan did not trust Longao at all. Longao, make a blood oath here. As long as Ancestor of Heaven and Earth can kill the remaining 4 people, I will return his Chinkuan bag and bones. If I violate this oath, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. A blood oath was the most terrifying oath. No matter who it was, even the starry sky realm lord wouldn't dare to make a blood oath casually. Let's go. Among the 6 of them, Ancestor Heaven and Earth was the strongest. It was just that Ancestor Heaven and Earth did not want to reveal his strength. No matter what, there was Butian before, and now there was Jin Shang. If he was too strong, he would be the one to suffer. In a one-on-one fight, no one was a match for Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. Moreover, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had Longao's help. Thus, killing the remaining 4 people became a piece of cake. After 10 days, the 5 territory ancestors were all killed. As for the 5 corpses, they were all destroyed. Except for Situ, his primordial spirit, the other 4 primordial spirits were all sent into the Dragon Seal space. Longao did not plan to refine a corpse slave or a soul slave. Instead, he planned to devour them directly. According to Long Fu, due to his physique, he would need even more power if he wanted to continue breaking through. Even if he devoured the primordial spirits of the 4 territory ancestors, it was still unknown whether he could break through to the Starry Sky Realm Emperor. Longao, fulfill your promise. Hand over the ancestor's corpse and Chinkuan bag. Longao smiled and took out a very beautiful bag from his bosom, as well as a set of bones. This isn't the ancestor's corpse and Chinkuan bag. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth's face changed when he saw what Longao took out. Was Longao going back on his word? It was almost impossible because Longao had taken a blood oath. If he broke the oath, wouldn't he be committing suicide? Longao smiled and said, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, when I took the blood oath, I didn't say whose corpse I would hand over. Thus, I just gave you a corpse. As for the Chinkuan bag, it's also a Chinkuan bag. Did I break the oath? Ancestor of Heaven and Earth knew very well that what Longao said was right. His mistake was that he didn't hear it clearly when he took the blood oath. From the beginning to the end, he didn't expect that Longao would play tricks with him, especially when he took the blood oath. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, take care of yourself. Before Ancestor of Heaven and Earth could react, Longao's figure had disappeared. He was enraged. He was suppressing his anger. It was as if he had been possessed by a ghost. He had chosen to believe Longao's words. He had killed his old brother for no reason. However, he hadn't obtained his ancestors' bones and Chinkuan bag. He had suffered a double loss. What a despicable and shameless Longao. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was completely enraged. He roared to the sky, Longao, I'll tear you to pieces. The news that Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had assassinated Situ He's group began to spread out. Many people were astounded because they didn't believe that Ancestor of Heaven and Earth would kill Situ He's group for no reason unless he was out of his mind. Longao and Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had joined hands to get the ancestor's corpse and Chinkuan back. That was why they had assassinated 5 people. Many people began to believe it because Longao alone couldn't kill any of them, let alone the 5 territory ancestors. Longao couldn't even kill one of them, unless someone had helped Longao. After pondering for a while, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was the most suspicious one. Among the 6 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky, only Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was fine. Thus, there was no doubt that Ancestor of Heaven and Earth would do that for the ancestor's corpse and Chinkuan bag. Jin Sheng also received the news. He immediately sent a message to Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. He asked directly, Heaven and Earth, is the rumor true? Jin Sheng's face was dark. The murderous aura on his body was rolling and suppressing. It was the murderous aura of the Starry Sky Sector Master, which made Ancestor of Heaven and Earth breathless. Chapter 2052. Would Forefather Heaven and Earth admit it? Of course not. As long as Forefather Heaven and Earth wasn't stupid, he would never admit it. This was because he knew very well that once he admitted to it, he would definitely die. Although he was invincible among those at the same level, he was nothing compared to the Universe Realm Master. Sir, don't you believe me? Jin Sheng didn't believe him. Of the 6 Universe Territory ancestors, Forefather Heaven and Earth was fine. No one would believe that. Moreover, Since Longao had the Universe Realm Master's corpse and Universe Bag, Forefather Heaven and Earth had a motive. However, without concrete evidence, Jin Shang would definitely not make a move casually. Heaven and Earth. You know how serious this is. 5 Universe Territory ancestors had died and 4 of them were from the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Even the Heaven-Devouring Empire didn't want to see such a loss. Universe Territory ancestors and Universe Realm Masters were the treasures of the Empire. Losing one of them was heartbreaking, let alone losing 4 of them in situ. Jin Shang was furious. He also understood that although Longao wasn't simple, it wasn't realistic for him to kill 5 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky, even if he did it one by one. The biggest suspect was Forefather Heaven and Earth. However, Forefather Heaven and Earth wouldn't admit it. What should he do? Admitting it meant death. Heaven and Earth, I'll ask you one last time. Did you do it? Under the suppression of the star boundary, Forefather Heaven and Earth shook his head. Before he could speak, a laughter came. Forefather Heaven and Earth, since you dared to do it, why don't you dare to admit it? Longao's figure suddenly appeared. Looking at Longao, Ancestor Qianquan was like seeing a worrisome person. Due to his carelessness, he was almost killed by Longao. Today, if he was careless, he would be killed by Jin Shang. Longao, you dare to come? Jin Shang, I'm not here to fight with you. I just want to tell you that Forefather Heaven and Earth and I cooperated well and killed 5 people. Longao laughed and said, Old Ancestor Qianquan, I can make a blood oath now. As long as you can kill Jin Shang, I can return the corpse of the Qianquan Realm Lord and the Qianquan bag to you. How about it? Longao, I'll kill you. How could Ancestor Heaven and Earth agree? Not to mention whether Longao was real or fake, just based on Jin Shang's strength alone. Not to mention one of him, even 100 of him would not be Jin Shang's match. To deal with Jin Shang, unless he was tired of living. Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth had a guilty conscience. Otherwise, he would not have struck out. Stop, my lord. Waving his hand, he stopped Patriarch Heaven and Earth. Jin Shang was almost certain that the real culprit who killed the 5 Black Brothers was definitely Ancestor Heaven and Earth. Under normal circumstances, Ancestor Heaven and Earth would never do such a thing. However, for the sake of the ancestors' bones and Qianquan pouch, things were different. Longao, even if Qianquan killed 5 people, what does that have to do with you? Jin Shang did not strike out immediately because Ancestor Heaven and Earth was on his side. He could not strike in front of Longao. First, he would deal with Longao, then deal with Qianquan. Jin Shang was full of confidence that Qianquan could not escape. The surrounding space had been disturbed, so Longao could not enter the spatial artifact. Therefore, Jin Shang was not in a hurry to strike. Longao, I'd like to ask, where are you from? Middle-level plane. Middle-level plane? Whether it was Ancestor Heaven and Earth, Jin Shang, or Fangxia, none of them believed Longao's words. How could a middle-level plane produce such a genius? However, Longao did not lie. He did come from a middle-level plane, but Tianwu plane was special. Which middle-level plane? Jin Shang seemed to believe Longao because his intuition told him that Longao might not lie. This plane? This plane? If Longao was telling the truth, then it was hard to believe. How could they not find out Longao's identity in a plane? However, Longao did not seem to be lying. Could it be that Longao's plane was sealed? This was the only explanation. Jin Shang did not continue to ask because he knew that Longao would not say more. Longao, do you think you can escape this time? Longao smiled confidently and did not speak. However, the more confident he was, the more uncertain Jin Shang was. Strike. Ancestor Qianquan took a big step forward and rushed forward. He was sure that Jin Shang was beginning to suspect him. If he could deal with Longao, he might be able to turn things around. Otherwise, he would definitely die this time. Just when Ancestor Qianquan was about to deal with Longao, the situation suddenly changed. Ancestor Qianquan turned around and rushed towards another direction. In the blink of an eye, Ancestor Heaven and Earth disappeared without a trace. Ancestor Heaven and Earth ran away? Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was not a fool. Even Jin Shang was not sure that he could kill Longao, so he had no confidence at all. In that case, what should he do if he did not run away? Should he wait for Jin Shang to kill him? Jin Shang was dumbfounded and furious. Ancestor Heaven and Earth's escape this time was due to his guilty conscience. However, Jin Shang did not chase after him. Now, he had to deal with Longao first. Just as Jin Shang was about to strike, two Longaos appeared, one on the left and one on the right. Both of them used teleportation to escape quickly. Which one should he choose? Although Jin Shang knew that one was real and the other was fake, he could not determine which one was Longao's real body and which one was Longao's doppelganger. If he made the wrong choice, he would let Longao escape again. Forget it. The situation was urgent. Jin Shang did not care about anything else and directly went towards Longao on the left. However, he had to admit that Longao's luck was really good. Perhaps Jin Shang's luck was too bad. The one he chose to go to the left was not Longao's original body, but his reincarnation clone. When Jin Shang realized it, it was too late. Longao and his doppelganger had disappeared at the same time. Jin Shang wanted to die when he saw them disappear right under his nose. As the Starry Sky Sector Master, he was given an important task by the Empire to come here. But what was the result? Among the 6 Starry Sky Territory ancestors, 5 of them were dead, and 1 of them had run away. Feng Xia was the only one left. Now, he was the only one left. If this matter was spread out, no, it was already spread out, he would be utterly disgraced. Jin Shang's face was very gloomy. It was as ugly as it could be, because until now, it seemed that Longao was leading him by the nose. He was very passive, because he couldn't even determine Longao's whereabouts. Longao could come whenever he wanted to, and leave whenever he wanted to. Chapter 2053. The 5 Universe Territory ancestors were really killed by Ancestor Qian Kuan. After the news was confirmed, it caused a huge uproar. When his own people killed his own people, the one who benefited was always Longao. Not only that, it was said that Ancestor Qian Kuan had escaped the falling cloud plane to avoid being killed. The most unbelievable thing was that not only did Longao appear in the falling cloud plane, he even faced Jin Shang face to face and escaped unscathed. Many people started to admire Longao. Not everyone was able to do this. The Heaven-Devouring Empire also received the news, but they didn't blame Jin Shang. No matter what, Jin Shang's strength and status were there. The Heaven-Devouring Empire sent another Universe Territory ancestor to the falling cloud plane. Many people couldn't understand. Even Realm Lord Jin Shang couldn't deal with Longao. What could a Universe Territory ancestor do? When the identity of the Universe Territory ancestor was revealed, everyone chose to keep quiet. Wan Tong was a Universe Territory ancestor array master. With his powerful array, he could even kill a Universe Realm Lord. In the tens of thousands of domains in the Heaven-Devouring Empire, Wan Tong's reputation was even higher than Jin Shang's. No one expected that Wan Tong would personally come to deal with Longao. Would Longao be able to escape unscathed this time? Until that moment, no one knew that Longao was actually an array master of the Starry Sky. Moreover, he was an array master of the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Array. But so what if they knew? Everyone knew the difference between a Starry Sky Territory Ancestral Array Master and a Starry Sky Territory Master. Brother Wan Tong, why did you come personally? When Jin Shang saw Wan Tong at first glance, he was also surprised. However, he felt very uncomfortable in his heart and was extremely unhappy. The Heaven-Devouring Empire did this to tell him and everyone else that he was useless. He couldn't even deal with Longao. That was why they sent Wan Tong to help. Wan Tong smiled. Wan Tong smiled and said, "Brother Jin, please don't misunderstand. The Empire sent me here to help you. According to your description, this person isn't simple." The unhappiness in his heart quickly disappeared without a trace. Who asked him to be unable to deal with Longao? If he continued to delay, the Empire's reputation would be ruined. Brother Wanong, with your help, even if Longao has 3 heads and 6 arms, he will definitely die this time. Wan Tong smiled, tacitly agreeing. It was easy to imagine how powerful the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Array Masters were. It was still the same sentence. It was more than enough to deal with a Starry Sky Region Lord, let alone a Starry Sky Region Lord. Jin Shang treated the other territory ancestors as if he was superior to them. However, he treated Wan Tong as an equal. Jin Shang was very clear in his heart that even with his strength, he was unable to contend against Wan Tong. Just the array formation alone, he believed that Wan Tong could kill him. This was Wan Tong's strength. This was the power of the Starry Sky Domain's ancestral array masters. Brother Wanong, the key now is that Longao is in the dark while we are in the light. We can't lock onto Longao's position at all. Moreover, this person can enter the spatial artifact at any time. This was what Jin Shang was most speechless about. Of course, he wasn't afraid of the other's strength. However, he was helpless against Longao's elusive appearance, which made him unable to lock onto the other's position. With only power, not to mention Longao, he wouldn't even put the Starry Sky Region Lord in his eyes. Wan Tong understood the situation. He thought for a while and then said, "It's easy to deal with the spatial artifact. As long as we can interfere with the space fluctuation, we can prevent Longao from disappearing. As for what you said, we can't lock onto the other's position. It's really troublesome." If it wasn't troublesome, Wan Tong wouldn't have come here. Brother Jin, according to you, Longao will come to provoke us every once in a while? He nodded reluctantly. It was also Jin Shang's biggest shame. A small Starry Sky Region Lord had provoked him again and again, and he couldn't kill him. Wan Tong wanted to laugh because he hadn't seen Jin Shang suffer for many years. In the end, Wan Tong couldn't help but laugh out loud. It didn't matter if he laughed, but it was simply a slap to the face. However, the relationship between the two wasn't bad. Jin Shang also knew that the other party didn't do it on purpose. After all, the back and forth between him and Longao was a joke. He didn't know how he would be laughed at outside. The dignified Starry Sky Region Lord was completely humiliated. Brother Wan Tong, you have to deal with Longao for me. Otherwise, I'll be disgraced. Wan Tong nodded and said, "We can't kill him yet. His Majesty has ordered us to capture him alive." Brother Wan Tong, it's not bad if we can bring the corpse back. If we want to capture him alive, I'm afraid there will be more problems. Jin Shang was completely afraid. Although Longao's strength wasn't great, he had all kinds of secret techniques. If an accident happened, how would he explain it to the Empire? How could Wan Tong not understand Jin Shang's meaning? Since it's His Majesty's order, we'll just do as he says. Brother Jin, this kid isn't simple. It seems like His Majesty wants to know his secret and his background. Jin Shang nodded in agreement. Jin Shang had already guessed that although Longao came from a mid-level plane, his identity was definitely not simple. Because in the vast starry sky, some planes were not only mysterious but also very powerful. For example, the Samsara plane. At that time, the Samsara clan had shaken the entire vast starry sky. According to Longao's situation, there must be a powerful plane behind him. If they could thread the needle and find this plane, it would be a good thing for the heaven-devouring empire. As for Longao, there was no doubt that he would die. Not to mention other things, just the fact that Longao had turned the third prince into a puppet was enough to kill him. Wan Tong and Jin Shang had been discussing how to deal with Longao. As for Longao, for some reason, he didn't receive any news of Wan Tong's arrival. It turned out that Yi Mei was severely injured because of him. It was no secret that Longao and Ji of Plum Blossom were friends. Everyone knew that Ji of Plum Blossom had accompanied Longao to fight against Chinku Insect and the Heaven-Devouring Empire. How could the Heaven-Devouring Empire let Ji of Plum Blossom off? It was impossible for Longao to stay by Ji Jue Mei's side all the time. Hence, Ji Jue Mei was besieged. Fortunately, Ji Jue Mei used his secret technique in the end. Otherwise, he would have died. Longao blamed himself and said, "Yi Mei, it's my fault. If we're friends, don't talk nonsense." With Longao's help, Yi Mei's wounds gradually stabilized. After killing the 5 territory ancestors of the starry sky, except for Situ, his primordial spirit, he got the primordial spirits of the other four. It was something that heaven and earth forefather had never thought of. Chapter 2054. Longao had already devoured 3 primordial spirits. As for the remaining primordial spirit, he had refined it into a starry sky godhead and handed it to Abyssal Plum. Longao was depressed because even though he had devoured 3 starry sky territory ancestor primordial spirits, his strength had only increased by half. He still had a long way to go before he could break through to the starry sky territory emperor realm. Brother Long, this starry sky territory ancestor godhead is too precious. I can't take it. Abyssal Plum was dumbfounded. He knew what a starry sky territory ancestor godhead meant. He would be lying if he said he didn't want it. However, a starry sky territory ancestor godhead was too precious. We're friends. Don't talk nonsense. He was touched. It was worth it to have such a friend, even if he had to die. Abyssal Plum didn't say anything else and directly devoured the godhead. However, the starry sky territory ancestor godhead was too powerful. Even if he tried to refine it, he wouldn't be able to do so in a few years. However, Abyssal Plum had decided that after he refined the starry sky territory ancestor godhead and broke through to the starry sky territory ancestor realm, he would follow Longao. However, Abyssal Plum didn't say anything because actions were more important than words. After Abyssal Plum's injuries were stabilized, Longao was ready to take revenge. He had to take revenge for his friend. According to Abyssal Plum, there were more than 10 people who had besieged him. The strongest among them was the Starry Sky Territory Lord. If there had been a Starry Sky Territory Emperor or Starry Sky Territory Emperor, he wouldn't have been able to return. Starry Sky Territory Lord. Soon, Abyssal Plum and Longao found the people who had besieged them. They didn't even know who they were. They bullied the weak and feared the strong. Hey, Abyssal Plum, I really admire your courage. You dare to show up in front of me. Are you unhappy that I didn't kill you last time? The dozen or so people spoke with arrogance. Among the dozen or so people, except for the Starry Sky Domain Lord in the front, the rest were either Grade 9 or Grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivators. There wasn't even a single Grade 7 Starry Sky Cultivator. They were more than enough to deal with a Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator like Abyssal Plum. We're not sure who will die. Everyone laughed and laughed when they heard Jijue's words. Abyssal Plum, as long as you tell us where Longao is, we will let's go. Brother Long? Spray of Plum Blossom almost burst out laughing. It turned out that many people in the realm knew about Longao, but those who had actually seen Longao were few and far between. Even if Longao stood in front of them, they wouldn't be able to recognize him. It had to be said that this was a joke. Zebra Plum, I'll give you one last chance. You don't have to. Longao, who had been silent all this while, stepped forward. He was half a step ahead of Yi Mei. Who are you? Sensing that the young man next to Yi Mei was not an expert and seemed to be just a Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, everyone laughed crazily. They had thought that Yi Plum had found an expert, but it turned out that it was just a Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. What a joke. What a joke. In everyone's eyes, Sprig of Plum Blossom was a tragedy. Zebra Plum, you're making me laugh. Big brother, don't waste your breath on him. Just kill him. I know how to search his soul. Even if he dies, we can still find traces of Longao. They were overestimating themselves. Longao couldn't figure out what was wrong with these people's brains. He wasn't even afraid of the heaven-devouring empire and the Starry Sky Domain Lord. Why would he be afraid of a Starry Sky Domain Lord and a few Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivators? Longao shook his head helplessly and said with a smile, Zebra Plum, leave them to me. How do you want them to die? Contempt. It was a blatant disdain. When they realized that Imo Wuji was ignoring them, they were furious and roared, Kid, who do you think you are? How dare you be so arrogant here? This daddy will kill you today. This Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator seemed to be very eager to show off. With a stride forward, he shot out from the left side. He had not yet arrived, but his killing move had already arrived. This person obviously wanted to kill Longao. In that case, Would Longao still be polite? He sneered. The strength of the other party was nothing in Longao's eyes. He didn't even move. He raised his right hand and gently slashed in the direction of the other party. A horrifying scene happened. Before this so-called Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator could react, he was strangled and swallowed by the newly appeared Starry Sky crack. It would be strange if this person could resist Wuji's Shattering Starry Sky. Shattering Starry Sky, Big Brother, it's Shattering Starry Sky. Everyone knew what Shattering Starry Sky meant. Not to mention a Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator. Even a Starry Sky domain lord wouldn't dare to face Shattering Starry Sky head-on. Otherwise, once swallowed by the Shattering Starry Sky, only death would await them. Who was this person? How could he use Shattering Starry Sky to kill a Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator in one move? There was no doubt that this person wasn't a Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator on the surface. Could it be that this person was hiding his strength? This was the only explanation. As if thinking of something, someone exclaimed, "You are Longao?" Yes, it was Longao. This was because the fact that Longao could shatter the starry sky was no longer a secret. Seeing that the other party didn't deny it, and thinking of the relationship between Jimei and Longao, everyone understood who this person was. Before they saw Longao, everyone was clamoring to find Longao every day. Now that they finally saw him, everyone was like a mouse that saw a cat. No one felt excited. Instead, they were all incomparably shocked. This was because no one thought that spray of plum blossom would really invite Longao. Who was Longao? Didn't you just say that you were looking for me? I'm standing right here. May I ask why you are looking for me? Looking at the faint smile on Longao's face, everyone was frightened to the extreme. As the saying went, a man's reputation was like the shadow of a tree. They had heard about Longao's arrogance. He had killed the third prince, Shunfeng, and used Ancestor Heaven and Earth to kill the 5 Starry Sky Territory ancestors. Even Butian, who had just arrived, had disappeared for no reason. All of these told everyone that Longao had the right to be arrogant. He didn't even put the Starry Sky Sector Master in his eyes. Why would he put them in his eyes? Among them, the strongest was only a Grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator. How could they resist Longao? Would they die for sure? Thinking of this, the arrogant people's faces turned ugly. The Starry Sky Sector Master said helplessly, "Senior Long, it's all our fault. We shouldn't have hurt your friends, and we shouldn't have disturbed you for no reason. It's all our fault. You are a magnanimous person. You don't need to be angry with us. Otherwise, it won't be good for you if you get angry and hurt your body. Thank you very much." Author's note: today, 10 chapters will erupt. Brothers, if you have a vote, please vote for Longao. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 2055. Wrong? No one was willing to die. They had just witnessed Longao's strength with their own eyes. The legends might be fake, but what they saw with their own eyes was also fake. In the face of great strength and death, everyone chose to compromise. Spray of Plum smiled. Longao also smiled. Longao smiled and said, "Spray of Plum, what do you think? Kill." Spray of Plum didn't show any mercy because this was the reality of the vast starry sky. "If you don't kill me, I will kill you." If it wasn't for Longao's personal arrival, would they have left him alive? If he hadn't run away in time, he would have been killed by them. Spray of Plum wouldn't give his enemies any chance. Only by eliminating the root of the problem would he not cause any trouble for himself. Longao and Spray of Plum had the same idea. Eliminate the root of the problem to prevent future trouble. Hearing Spray of Plum's words, everyone's expression changed and they hurriedly said, "Lord Longao, please spare us. We are willing to do anything. Why don't we submit to you? In the future, if you ask us to go east, we will never dare to go west." Just a moment ago, he was still Senior Long. Now, he was Lord Longao. Everyone was scared out of their wits and panicked. Based on the strength Longao had just shown, no one present was a match for Longao. Even the Cosmic Domain Lord couldn't defeat Longao. As long as they fought, they would die without a doubt. In the face of death, No one wasn't afraid. Everyone looked at each other and saw the fear in each other's eyes. There was no need to mention Longao's strength. Everyone retreated step by step. If Longao really attacked, they would run as fast as they could. Now, everyone was regretting to the extreme. Why did they look for Longao? Why did they look for Spray of Plum? They even rewarded Spray of Plum. Regret. But was there any use in regretting now? Longao smiled and raised his right hand. Seeing this situation, everyone was thoroughly shocked. Longao had just made a light stroke, and a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator had ended up swallowed by the Starry Sky crack. Would Longao give them a chance? With a series of slashes, several spatial rifts swallowed everyone. If it were the Starry Sky Territory King, Starry Sky Territory Emperor, or Starry Sky Territory Ancestor, Longao wouldn't be able to use the space crack so accurately. But now, among the dozens of people, the strongest was the Starry Sky Domain Lord. Longao could almost kill people of the same level as him in an instant, let alone cultivators below the Starry Sky Domain Lord level. Screams rang out one after another. In just a few seconds, dozens of people had been killed. This was Longao's strength. Looking at how strong Longao was, even Ijime couldn't help but gulp. No wonder Brother Long dared to go against Chinkuan sect, destroy the Chinkuan world, and even go against the heaven-devouring empire. But one had to know. In the blink of an eye, 1 month had passed. Longao still hadn't shown up. Jin Shang was bewildered. Did Longao give up? Wan Tong didn't seem to believe it. He asked gloomily, Brother Jin, are you sure that Longao won't come? How would he know? Jin Shang was also helpless. He said helplessly, Brother Wan Tong, I know what you mean. However, I'm not sure either. According to my understanding of him, he would come to provoke us every once in a while. Last time, he killed 5 people to sow discord. Even Ancestor Qian Kuan fled. As for why he didn't show up this time, I have no idea. Jin Sheng really didn't know. As for Wan Tong, he didn't have any doubts. After all, the heaven-devouring empire was there, and their relationship was there. Jin Sheng didn't need to lie to him. Since that was the case, the two of them couldn't figure out why Longao didn't show up. What had happened? No matter how powerful Wan Tong's formation was, as long as Longao didn't show up, it was useless. Therefore, Wan Tong and Jin Sheng were anxious. If this continued, they didn't know how to explain it to the Heaven and Earth Empire. Chapter 2056. Longao was still nowhere to be seen. Longao wasn't in a hurry, but Wan Tong and Jin Sheng were. Although the Empire didn't set a time limit, their strength was obvious. One was a Starry Sky Sector Lord, while the other was a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Array Master. If they couldn't deal with Longao, how could they save their face? But now, the result was that Longao refused to appear. Ever since Ancestor Heaven and Earth left Falling Cloud Plain, he had been looking for Longao. In the eyes of Ancestor Heaven and Earth, it was entirely Longao's fault that he was reduced to such a state. He had to take revenge. Ancestor Heaven and Earth was like a stray dog. He didn't dare to show up or reveal his whereabouts. He killed 5 Starry Sky Territory ancestors. Once Jin Shang caught him, he knew what would happen. He regretted it to the extreme. Ancestor Heaven and Earth didn't know what had happened to him. He fell into Longao's trap for no reason. Ancestor Heaven and Earth was secretly looking for Longao while Jin Shang was openly looking for Longao. What was the result? A message suddenly appeared on the interface. Ancestor Heaven and Earth was recruiting people everywhere to deal with Jin Shang. Everyone laughed when they heard the news. Did Ancestor Heaven and Earth really think that a Starry Sky Territory Lord was a cabbage in the market? A Starry Sky Territory Lord was powerful enough to dominate a plane. As for the plane Longao was in, no one knew who was in charge. No one believed it. After that, Forefather Heaven and Earth had decided to form an alliance with Longao. No one didn't believe it because Longao had Forefather Heaven and Earth's help to kill the 5 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky. If there was no accident, the two should have formed an alliance. However, what everyone couldn't figure out was that the two of them were clearly sworn enemies. So why would they walk together out of the blue? Longao not only killed Feng Cheng, the master of Heaven and Earth sect, but also destroyed Heaven and Earth plane. If not for the appearance of Longao, the current Qinkuan sect would have taken advantage of the marriage between Feng Xia and the third prince to surpass Black Wind Ridge. The culprit behind all of this was Longao. In that case, could it be that the male ancestor of Heaven and Earth had entered the water? Yet, he chose to form an alliance with his worries to deal with Jin Sheng. With the strength of the heaven-devouring empire, did old ancestor Qian Kuan really think that he could shake the empire? What a joke. This was simply a huge joke. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth and Longao found each other at the same time. It was not known whether it was by luck or on purpose. Anyway, when enemies met, their eyes burned with hatred. The Dark Abyss Plane. Forefather Black Wind of Black Wind Ridge was one of the strongest existences in this world. He was at the peak of Territory Ancestor Realm in the Starry Sky, an existence infinitely close to the Territory Master of Starry Sky. How could Patriarch Black Wind not know that the two of them had appeared at the same time? In the Nine Heavens, at the peak of the clouds, the three of them formed a triangle as they looked at each other. Not only did Longao have a grudge against Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, but Ancestor Black Wind also had a grudge against Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. In the past, the Dark Abyss Plane and Qinkuan Plane had been fighting both openly and secretly. In order to deal with the Dark Abyss Plane, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth had sent Feng Xia to find the third prince. However, things did not go as planned. Unexpectedly, Longao came out of nowhere and ruined Qinkuan sect's plan. If it were not for the heaven-devouring empire, Ancestor Black Wind would have taken action. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth snorted. Gentlemen, I don't want to interfere in the grudge between the two of you. However, please don't start a war in my plane. An eviction order. Of course, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was willing to leave. After all, he did not want to provoke Ancestor Black Wind. Once Ancestor Black Wind attacked him, there was no way he could leave. However, would Longao be willing to leave? Seeing Longao not moving, Ancestor Black Wind's face darkened. He said coldly, Longao, aren't you a little too arrogant? This is my territory after all. Longao was famous for his arrogance. Of course, Ancestor Black Wind was very clear about it. He was worried that Longao would not be willing to leave. It was not worth it to provoke such a big trouble for no reason. Ancestor Black Wind knew how strong Qinkuan sect was. However, what about now? Other than Qinkuan and Feng Xia, the entire sect was destroyed or had left. Even the entire Qinkuan plane was destroyed. Just thinking about it sent shivers down his spine. Longao was simply crazy to the extreme. He even dared to do such a thing. In any case, although the vast starry sky did not have a clear rule, as a part of the vast starry sky, everyone knew very well that no matter who it was, even the starry skylord, they could not casually destroy a plane. In the past, there was a universe realm lord who destroyed a plane. Several empires joined forces to hunt him down. In the end, they killed him. Since then, no one dared to do such a thing. Longao had broken the precedent. He was provoking the heaven-devouring empire and everyone in the universe. Longao, do you want to be my enemy? The entire Black Abyss plane? Seeing that Ancestor Black Wind was really angry, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was excited. If the two of them really went to war, he would be able to reap the benefits. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth hoped that the two of them would go to war, but with Longao? Longao was no fool. Of course, he would not cause trouble for himself. He smiled and said, Ancestor Black Wind, I know your character. You have always wanted to destroy Qinkuan Plane, but you couldn't do it. Now, I have helped you destroy Qinkuan Plane. Wait, Longao, you are helping yourself, not me. You have to be clear about this. Longao smiled and continued, Yes, it's my business, but I have also helped you indirectly. There is no enmity between us. If you're willing, we can be friends. Why don't we work together to kill Ancestor of Heaven and Earth? Both of us can be rid of future troubles. What do you think? F***ck old ancestor Qian Kuan cursed in his heart. He had never thought that Longao would make such a move. However, he was not worried at all. If it was in the past, old ancestor Blackwind would definitely agree to it. But now, with the deterrence of the sky-devouring empire, old ancestor Blackwind wouldn't agree to it. Longao, why should I agree? You should know why. If you don't agree, I will have to deal with ancestor of heaven and earth alone. However, it's hard to say what will happen between me and Black Abyss Plain. A threat. It was a blatant threat. However, ancestor Blackwind knew that Longao had the ability to threaten him. After all, Black Abyss Plain was not much stronger than Chinkuan Plain. If Longao really attacked, how could he resist? How could Black Abyss Plain resist? But did he really have to help Longao deal with ancestor of heaven and earth? If Jin Shang and the heaven-devouring empire knew about this, he and Black Wind Ridge would be in trouble. Chapter 2057. What should he do? Old Master Blackwind was truly worried. He was afraid that Longao would go berserk and destroy the entire Black Abyss world. Speaking of which, it was truly laughable. To think that someone as powerful as Old Master Blackwind would be intimidated by a mere Longao. This was truly unbelievable. Longao, are you playing with fire? Ha ha ha. Longao burst out laughing. He did not care about Old Master Blackwind at all. Right now, Longao was like a broken pot that had been smashed. Since he had already offended the heaven-devouring empire, the Black Abyss world wouldn't make a difference. Old Master Blackwind, do you think that I would care about you? Old Master Blackwind sighed deeply. Ancestor Blackwind helplessly shook his head and said, Chinkuan, I'm sorry, but Longao is right. I don't want the Black Abyss Plain to follow the same path as your Chinkuan Plain. So, I'm sorry, I can only sacrifice you. He was not surprised at all. Old Master Blackwind had already guessed it. Even if it were anyone else, they would definitely be afraid of Longao's threat, let alone Old Master Blackwind. If not for the destruction of the Chinkuan world, things would have been different. If Longao could destroy a world, he could definitely do the same to another world. The barefooted were not afraid of those with shoes. Since Longao was alone, he was not afraid of anyone. But thinking about it, it made sense. If Longao was afraid, he would not have offended the heaven-devouring empire. After all, the heaven-devouring empire's strength was way above Black Wind Ridge. Old Master Blackwind, don't think that you'll be fine just because you helped Longao. As long as I can leave this place today, I swear that I'll destroy the entire Black Abyss world. With the threat of a territory ancestor, Old Master Blackwind would definitely not be simple. Chinkuan, between you and Longao, I'll definitely choose Longao over you. Old Master Blackwind had already made up his mind. He would definitely not let Old Master Blackwind leave this place. Old Ancestor Chinkuan had betrayed the heaven-devouring empire. Even if he killed Old Ancestor Chinkuan, the heaven-devouring empire wouldn't say anything. As long as the news of him helping Longao didn't spread, everything would be fine. Longao and Ancestor Blackwind approached step by step, while Ancestor Heaven and Earth retreated step by step. Ancestor Blackwind, are you really going to help Longao? Longao didn't say anything. Blackwind didn't say anything either. If Longao had been alone, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth would not have taken him seriously. But Longao himself was very weak. He only relied on various secret skills and starry sky divine weapons. But now that Longao had the help of Ancestor Blackwind, things had become troublesome. Ancestor Chinkuan knew very well that he was no match for Ancestor Blackwind alone, not to mention the two of them joining forces. Below the starry sky sector lord, there were very few people who could match Ancestor Heaven and Earth, but Ancestor Blackwind was one of them. His expression changed again. Ancestor Blackwind, you will definitely regret this. Attack. Ancestor Blackwind had to admit that he was a decisive person. Since he had made up his mind, he would not continue to hesitate. Ancestor Blackwind and Longao, one on the left and one on the right, began to attack Ancestor Heaven and Earth. According to the current situation, if he continued to fight, he would only die. He made a prompt decision. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth turned around and retreated at an extreme speed. I can't let Ancestor of Heaven and Earth escape. Longao was not in a hurry, but Ancestor Black Wind was anxious. Longao was alone anyway. Even if he couldn't kill Ancestor of Heaven and Earth this time, there would be next time, and the time after that. According to his cultivation speed, he believed that one day he could kill Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. But Ancestor Black Wind's situation was completely different. If he couldn't kill Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, once the news spread out, the first person to deal with him would be Jin Sheng. With Jin Sheng's powerful strength, it was simply a matter of minutes for him to destroy the Black Abyss realm. Ancestor Black Wind did not dare to take the risk. There was only one way, and that was to kill Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. The two madly chased after Ancestor of Heaven and Earth. But in order to escape smoothly, Ancestor of Heaven and Earth used blood escape and left the Black Abyss realm in the blink of an eye. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth stopped abruptly. Black Wind, why did you stop chasing? Longao was very clear about what Ancestor Black Wind was thinking. He was just asking the obvious. Ancestor Black Wind said helplessly, Longao, since you already know, why ask? If you and I go out now, this matter will definitely be exposed. You can be fearless of the Heaven-Devouring Empire, but I can't. If the Heaven-Devouring Empire knows about this, do you think the Black Abyss realm can withstand Jin Sheng's attack? Ancestor Black Wind chuckled. Before Longao could reply, he continued, Longao, you're really shameless. You actually want to drag me down with you. Longao was right. It would be difficult for him to deal with Ancestor of Heaven and Earth alone. If he had the help of Ancestor Black Wind and the entire Black Abyss realm, things would be much easier. Why wouldn't Ancestor Black Wind use him as a scapegoat? Right now, Ancestor Black Wind could be said to be suffering in silence. Black Wind, since I've dragged you down with me, I only have one condition. Help me deal with Ancestor of Heaven and Earth, and I'll deal with the Heaven-Devouring Empire alone. How about that? F***CK. Even if he wanted to deal with the Heaven-Devouring Empire, he had to have the strength to do so. Among the tens of thousands of worlds, who would dare to provoke the Heaven-Devouring Empire? Even the other Starry Sky empires wouldn't dare to provoke the Heaven-Devouring Empire. This was the strength of the Heaven-Devouring Empire. However, things had already come to this point. If he chose not to agree, who knew what Longao would do? If Longao really went crazy and attacked the Black Abyss realm, how could he resist? How could the Black Abyss realm resist? Ancestor Black Wind sighed deeply and said, I have no choice but to agree now. Longao, I've helped you this time. I hope you can help me in the future. Longao heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Ancestor Black Wind's words. He was really afraid that Ancestor Black Wind wouldn't agree. But now, it seemed like Ancestor Black Wind was also a cautious person. However, no matter what, with the help of Ancestor Black Wind, he finally had some confidence. Not to mention dealing with Jin Sheng, he already had a lot of confidence in dealing with Ancestor Heaven and Earth. Ancestor Black Wind, help is mutual. Since you've helped me this time, I'll do my best to help you if anything happens to the Black Abyss plane in the future. At that time, you'll be glad for what you've done today. Even if he didn't want to believe it, what was done was done. Did he have a choice? Longao, please. Regardless of whether he was willing to make friends with Longao or not, under such circumstances, Ancestor Black Wind was still willing to treat Longao as a friend for the time being. As for whether he would be able to get a return in the future, that was unknown. Chapter 2058. After successfully escaping, Ancestor Qian Kuan felt like he had been reborn. His heart was filled with anger. Ancestor Black Wind, I'll let you be arrogant. Ancestor Qian Kuan wouldn't sit and wait for death. He immediately spread the news that Longao and Ancestor Black Wind had joined forces. Would anyone believe it? It didn't matter if others believed it or not. After all, the grudge between Longao and the Heaven-Devouring Empire had nothing to do with them. Now, it was up to Jin Sheng to believe it. But the result was that Jin Sheng didn't believe it at all. Only a fool would believe it. However, Wan Tong and Jin Sheng weren't willing to give up the slightest chance. They immediately got up and left the falling cloud plane for the abyss plane. The abyss plane. Lord Wantong, Lord Jinsheng, what are you here for? Asking the obvious. Ancestor Blackwind had already guessed that Wantong and Jinsheng were here because of the news from Ancestor Qiankuan. Has Longao been here before? Longao? I've never seen him before. Qiankuan said that you and Longao have joined forces and are going to hunt him down. Is this true? Of course, they hoped it was true. However, their rationality told them that it wasn't true. Blackwind, I'm asking you to help me kill Longao. Are you willing to do so? Forcing. Ancestor Blackwind was depressed. He had just agreed to cooperate with Longao. Now, Jinsheng was here. How could he not agree? Without any hesitation, Ancestor Blackwind nodded. Between Jinsheng and Longao, Ancestor Blackwind ultimately chose Longao over Jinsheng. He had a feeling that Longao wasn't simple. He could only take a gamble. Ancestor Blackwind was thinking that even if he chose Jinsheng, so what? No one could guarantee that the heaven-devouring empire wouldn't destroy the abyss plane to silence him. As soon as the two left, Longao's figure appeared. Longao, you're in big trouble this time? Wantong by Jinsheng sighed. Longao didn't know Wantong. He just heard forefather Blackwind call him Sir Wantong. However, he was curious as to why Wantong could sit on the same level as Jinsheng even though he was also a territory ancestor. It seemed that Wantong's identity was not simple. He nodded. Longao, there's something you don't know. Although Master Wantong is just a territory ancestor of the Starry Sky Territory, he's an ancestral array master of the Starry Sky Territory. He's known as the strongest array master of the sky-devouring empire. Even the Starry Sky Territory Lord doesn't dare to offend him. It turned out to be a Starry Sky Territory ancestor array master. Longao was also a Starry Sky Array Formation Master. Therefore, he naturally understood what it meant to be a Starry Sky Domain's Ancestral Array Formation Master. No wonder Wantong's status was so high. Since Wantong was known as the most powerful Starry Sky Array Master, Longao knew very well that unless one was a Starry Sky Realm Master Array Master, no one would be a match for Wantong. Indeed, it was troublesome. Longao, listen to me. With your talent and potential, I believe you can become the Starry Sky Territory Lord in less than 10,000 years. At that time, you can come back to take revenge. Why do you have to be so quick? If Wantong and Jinsheng join hands, you won't stand a chance. Hide. Longao smiled. If he knew how to hide, he wouldn't have fallen into this situation. I'll kill whoever comes. These simple words had expressed Longao's attitude. Forefather Blackwind didn't continue to persuade him because Longao's life was none of his business. Thus, whether Longao stayed or not had nothing to do with him. Longao, what are you going to do now? You help me deal with Forefather Heaven and Earth. I'll deal with Wantong and Jinsheng. F***CK. He had seen arrogant people, but he had never seen such an arrogant person. However, since Longao had made up his mind, Forefather Blackwind didn't say anything. Longao left as soon as he said he would. He followed Wantong and Jinsheng all the way back to the fallen cloud plain. From beginning to end, the two of them didn't find any trace of Longao. If the two of them knew that the person they were looking for was right behind them, who knew what they would think? Longao didn't immediately deal with the two. If Jinsheng was alone, he could deal with it. However, with Wantong, he would be doomed if he wasn't careful. Starry Sky Territory Lord Array Master? Longao smiled. He was now a Starry Sky Territory Lord Array Master. As for the power of his array, he still didn't know. Longao found a place surrounded by mountains. At least, he wouldn't be discovered here. 1 Origin Array, 2 Chi Array, 3 Talents Array, 4 Extremes Array, 5 Elements Array, 6 Lights Array, 7 Stars Array, 8 Trigrams Array, 9 Palaces Array, 10 Extremes Array, 36 Dipper Array, and 72 Earth-Killing Array. Longao didn't stop after he finished arranging these so-called array formations. Because he was facing a Starry Sky Territory Lord Array Master, these array formations were far from enough. 9 Heavens 10 Earths Killing Array, 10,000 Ghosts Devouring Array, Primordial Everlasting Array, Nirvana Void No Life Array, 3 lives 3 death soul dispersing array, hidden dragon divine annihilation array, 6 wheels ghost killing array, limitless tornado illusion array, 12 divine fiends grand array, 3 lives 3 death soul dispersing array. Took Longao 3 months to complete all the array formations. Each formation was linked to another. In other words, as long as one formation was triggered, all the other formations would be activated. At that time, with the help of the endless vitality gathering array, all the formations would be in a state of endless circulation. It was time to take action. Until now, Longao didn't know what kind of experts his formation could kill. At least, it was more than enough to kill a Starry Sky Territory King, or even a Starry Sky Territory Emperor. As for the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor and the Starry Sky Territory Master, he didn't know. Especially Wan Tong, the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor's Formation Master. Jin Sheng, Wan Tong, come out and face your death. Jin Sheng and Wan Tong, who were feeling depressed, suddenly heard Longao's words. They looked at each other as they didn't know what was going on. It had been 4 months, and Longao seemed to have disappeared from the world. Now, he suddenly came out to provoke them. It was a little unbelievable. At first, Wan Tong didn't believe it. No matter what, Jin Sheng's strength was there. With Longao's strength, he was simply courting death if he dared to provoke them. When the two of them came out and saw Longao in front of them, Wan Tong was a little dumbfounded. The other party wasn't afraid of death. Even if he didn't put Jin Sheng in his eyes, did he not put him in his eyes? Anger. Endless anger. Being ignored like this was something that had never happened before. Not to mention his own strength. Just his array formation level alone was enough to make even the Universe Realm Lord treat him with respect. Take Jin Sheng for example. His strength was far above Yi Shiwen's, but he still sat on the same level as Yi Shiwen, not daring to be impudent. Chapter 2059. Longao, you're courting death. If he didn't kill Longao, he would lose all his face. Jin Sheng wanted to laugh. Wan Tong didn't believe that Longao could be so arrogant. Now, he had seen it for himself. He didn't care at all. Wan Tong, I heard that you're the #1 array master in the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Is that true? Wan Tong's face was filled with pride. As a powerful array master in the Universal Territory, no one in the Heaven-Devouring Empire would dare to claim that they were #1. So what if it's true? Wan Tong's array master had reached the peak of the Universal Territory Ancestor Realm. Once he set up an array, he could even kill a Universal Territory Lord. This was the reason why Wan Tong had such a high status in the Heaven-Devouring Empire.
Trash.
Trash? Before Wan Tong could say anything, Longao said, I've set up a few arrays. Do you dare to break them? You're an array master? Not to mention Wan Tong, even Jin Sheng did not seem to think that Longao was a Starry Sky array master. But so what? Wan Tong laughed. Jin Sheng laughed as well. The two of them didn't put Longao in their eyes. In their eyes, Longao was just bluffing. If Longao was really that strong, he wouldn't have kept running. No problem. I also want to try and see how strong your arrays are. He didn't care. He wasn't worried. Come. Longao turned and left. As for Jin Sheng, he said worriedly, Brother Wan Tong, Longao isn't simple. Let's not fall into his trap. We should be careful. Ha ha ha, Brother Jin. You're scared of Longao. Wan Tong took a step forward and was already a few thousand meters away. Jin Sheng had no choice but to follow him. However, his instincts told him that things weren't that simple. Soon, the three of them arrived at their destination. Universal Territory Master Array Master? Sensing the other party's array, Wan Tong laughed even harder. A Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master. It turned out that Longao was just a Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master. Wan Tong had thought that Longao was also a Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Array Master. Knowing that Longao was only a Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master, Jin Sheng also breathed a sigh of relief. He knew very well what it meant to be a Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master. A Starry Sky Territory Master Array Master and a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Array Master were not on the same level. Not even a fart. The two of them really couldn't figure out what gave the other party such courage. Longao, you want to use such a formation against me? No? Are you afraid? Am I scared? Hearing Longao's lies, whether it was Jin Sheng or Wan Tong, both of them laughed crazily. The laughter was filled with endless contempt and mockery. All right, Longao, I'll give you a chance. If he didn't even dare to enter such an array formation, then he could only commit suicide. As soon as he stepped in, the surrounding array formations were already activated and linked together. Brother Wan Tong, how many array formations are there? Jin Sheng also followed Wan Tong into the array formation. He wasn't afraid of entering such an array formation alone, let alone following Wan Tong. Even a Starry Sky Domain Emperor could easily break an array formation set up by a Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master. Because of this, the two of them didn't have the slightest fear. There are probably hundreds of them. It seems like Longao didn't do anything during the past 4 months. He just hid here and set up the array formations. Strictly speaking, setting up hundreds of array formations in 4 months was 3 months. It was just that the two of them didn't know this. However, even so, Longao was already very powerful. One should know that Longao was only a Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master. Brother Wan Tong, how long will it take to break the array formation? Jin Sheng had no problem breaking the array formation, but it might take a little longer. However, Wan Tong was here, so Jin Sheng definitely wouldn't steal the show. Very simple. Wan Tong began to break the array formation. According to Wan Tong's estimation, it would take him less than a minute to break the array formation set up by Longao. Moreover, there were hundreds of array formations. But what was the result? 3 minutes had passed, but Wan Tong still hadn't broken the array formation. This surprised Jin Sheng a little. It seemed like Longao still had some strength. Wan Tong's expression became more and more solemn, gloomy, and ugly. He sighed deeply and said, Longao is indeed an array formation genius. If he can become my disciple, I believe that Longao will become a Starry Sky Domain Master in less than 100 years. Jin Sheng was shocked because Wan Tong rarely praised someone. How amazing was Wan Tong's talent if he could become a Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master in less than 100 years. However, it was impossible. Longao had already killed the third prince. Even if Wan Tong was willing, the heaven-devouring empire wouldn't allow it. Thinking of this, Jin Sheng asked, Brother Wan Tong, what's going on? Longao has laid out more than 100 formations. If I were to take them out individually, they wouldn't have the slightest bit of power. However, they are all linked together. Moreover, they are connected using a secret technique. Even if I wanted to break them, I would need to spend about an hour. There was no need to say anything else. Just this sentence alone was enough to prove Longao's strength. He was definitely a formation genius. No wonder Wan Tong was so tempted and had such a high evaluation of Longao. It was a pity that Longao had overestimated himself and killed the third prince. Otherwise, the heaven-devouring empire would definitely give Wan Tong face just for the universe plane. This was fate. Jin Sheng didn't have a choice. An hour was fine. However, what made Jin Sheng feel helpless was that Longao would definitely escape in an hour. He couldn't figure out why Longao would do such a thing. Even if the array formation was powerful, it couldn't kill 2 people. Could it be that he had nothing better to do and wanted to provoke them? Jin Sheng's intuition told him that Longao wouldn't do such a thing. There must be something fishy going on. The more it was like this, the more cautious Jin Sheng became. However, he didn't inform Wan Tong because he knew Wan Tong's character very well. Wan Tong's expression became more and more solemn. The more he tried to break the array, the more profound it felt. Fortunately, Longao was only a Starry Sky Domain Master Array Master. If he was a Starry Sky Domain Ancestor Array Master, he would have to go through a lot of trouble to break the array. Longao was truly a formation genius. Wan Tong couldn't help but feel tempted. He even had the impulse to leave the heaven-devouring empire and accept Longao as his disciple. With such a genius disciple, he was confident that he could create an unparalleled formation expert within 100 years. However, Wan Tong didn't dare to do so. After all, the heaven-devouring empire's strength was obvious. Unless he was tired of living, he wouldn't take the initiative to provoke the empire. Outside the array, Longao felt helpless. It seemed like his array formation wasn't good enough. He couldn't make up for the difference in cultivation level. Chapter 2060. However, Longao was already satisfied with the result. Based on this experiment, Longao was confident that he could kill a Starry Sky Domain Emperor with his formation. Even killing a Starry Sky Domain Emperor wouldn't be a problem. This was already good enough. Relying on the formation, he could kill opponents 2 levels above him. Since the formation couldn't kill the 2, Longao didn't stay any longer. He turned and left. Half an hour later, by the time the 2 broke through the formation, Wan Tong was already nowhere to be seen. However, they weren't surprised at all. They had already guessed it. It would be strange if Longao stayed behind to wait for them. Even now, Wan Tong's heart couldn't calm down for a long time. Longao's talent in formations was too strong. He thought that he was strong enough, but compared to Longao, he was still lacking. It would be great if he could recruit such a talented array formation genius under his wing. Looking at Wan Tong's expression, how could Jin Sheng not know what Wan Tong was thinking? He sighed helplessly. Brother Wan Tong, we don't have to talk about our relationship. Let me give you a piece of advice. Even if you want to, you mustn't be tempted. You should know the consequences if the Empire finds out about this. How can I not know? Wan Tong also sighed deeply. It was hard to find a good master, but it was even harder to find a good disciple, especially one who was talented in formations. If he missed this opportunity, it would be impossible to find another Longao in the future. He wasn't willing. He was really unwilling. He had found such a good disciple, but he had to give it up. How could he be willing? Brother Jean, since you said so, I'll tell you the truth. Longao's talent in formations is the strongest I've seen in countless years. Within 100 years, not only can I make him a Starry Sky Domain Lord, but I can also make him a Starry Sky Array Master. At that time, no one in the Starry Sky Domain Lord will be his match. So you're saying that you want to choose Longao and give up on the heaven-devouring empire? They were shocked. Jin Sheng and Wan Tong were both from the heaven-devouring empire. They knew how powerful the heaven-devouring empire was. I don't know. I need to think about it. Right now, Wan Tong was in a dilemma. On one side, he had an extremely talented formation genius. On the other side, he had the heaven-devouring empire. He knew that if he chose the heaven-devouring empire, he would be hunted down, even if he wasn't afraid of the Starry Sky Domain Lord. If he chose heaven-devouring empire, he would have to kill Longao. Fate made fools of people. Longao did not know about Wan Tong's dilemma at all. Longao didn't know why Wan Tong was secretly looking for him. He also didn't know how Wan Tong was able to use spiritual sense transmission. After all, Wan Tong couldn't lock his position. Longao did not have the slightest bit of fear. He returned the way he came, but it was not to the base camp. Instead, he came to the peak of a mountain. Please have a seat. Wan Tong, I want to know, did you find my location through the formation? Ha ha ha, you're really smart. I have to admit that your talent in formations is unparalleled. Longao, let me ask you now, are you willing to be my disciple? Hearing Wan Tong's words, Longao was completely dumbfounded. He didn't know why Wan Tong would suddenly say those words. Were they true or false? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Wan Tong smiled and said, "There's no need to doubt it. For countless years, I believe that my talent in array formations can definitely be ranked in the top 10. Even the master array masters of the Starry Sky sector may not be able to surpass me. I also have confidence that in another 1,000 years, I can become a master array master of the Starry Sky sector." Senior, is there really a Starry Sky Domain Lord? Realizing that Wan Tong didn't have any ill intentions towards him, Longao didn't call him by his name. Instead, he addressed him as Senior. Yes, of course. However, such a supreme existence wouldn't appear so casually. Heaven-devouring empire. Forget it, It's still too early to talk about this. Longao, the hundreds of formations that you've set up are all linked together. It took me an hour to break them all. I have to say that your talent in formations is far greater than mine. So what? Longao had never doubted his talent in arrays. If he didn't have the support of a strong talent, he wouldn't have been able to reach this step. In just a few years, he had become the main array master of the Starry Sky domain. Such a speed of improvement could only be described as terrifying. Senior, I'm curious. Even if I agree to become your disciple, how are you going to answer to the heaven-devouring empire? I killed the third prince, Shinfeng. I believe the heaven-devouring empire won't let me off. Are you going to offend the heaven-devouring empire for me? Longao didn't believe it. No one would choose to believe it. It was ridiculous. Even if Wantong was confident, he wouldn't dare to offend the heaven-devouring empire for the sake of accepting him as his disciple. Offending the heaven-devouring empire was the same as offending the heaven-devouring empire. This is where I'm conflicted. You won't be able to understand my heart. Longao, let me ask you now. Are you willing to accept me as your master? Things had already reached this point. If Longao still didn't agree, it would be a pain in the ass. Moreover, Wantong was indeed very powerful. He was a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Array Master. If he could become Wantong's disciple, he believed that it would be of great help to his array. The biggest reason was that Longao liked Wantong. After bowing, Longao didn't say anything. He didn't know what Wantong wanted. However, since he had already accepted Wantong as his master, he believed that Wantong had already made his decision. Otherwise, Wantong wouldn't be so bored. Wantong was pleasantly surprised. He said, Longao, I will leave the heaven-devouring empire later. If the empire dares to attack you, I will definitely help you. Longao was also a little excited. With his master's help, he didn't have to fight alone. He had to fight alone. Master, I've implicated you. Since you've accepted me as your master, we're on the same side. I don't have any relatives. From now on, you're my family. No matter who dares to attack you, they'll be attacking me. I'll kill them without mercy. Wantong stood up and said, Follow me. I'll deal with Jin Sheng first. He had to admit that Wantong was domineering. As a Starry Sky domain ancestor, he dared to say that he would deal with Jin Sheng. Longao smiled and followed Wantong to the headquarters. He wondered what Jin Sheng would think if he saw this scene. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.